all right. Good evening, everyone. Don't adjust your set. I'm not alone just yet. Hang on, I'm trying to work on. I figured I'd get us started. Can schmooze with the chat, everybody who's in the chat, but I didn't want to go really late. Getting started, just because that's just, it seems to be my thing. So give me just a second. We're waiting, trying to get Chris into the call, but in the meantime, and his camera may not be working because he's in a low internet spot. But we do have Rab. Rab, can you hear us? Oh, we have a Rab. All right, we have a Rab.
We have a wild Rab?
We have a wild Rab in the house. What's up, man? What's going on? I see.
Hey, Myke, how are you?
I'm good. I see like hanging silhouettes of bears in the background behind you. Is that what's to your over your left shoulder?
I am at a vacation rental.
Nice. Very nice.
Let me see if I can fix that.
No, I was admiring. I wasn't.
There.
All right.
I'm blur.
Oh, that's okay. All right, let me see if I can get Chris. Chris is green, but I've been trying to get him in for the last 5 minutes. Let me try him again. How you doing? How's vacation?
Vacation is wonderful.
Awesome.
We don't start until the end of next week, so we've got a full week and a half of working from home.
Nice. Oh, you guys start after Labor Day too?
Yeah.
Yeah, so do we.
They're still young, so I think their first day is on Friday, next Friday. So they've got some time.
Oh, wow. We start on Tuesday here. So and we have
Hello, gentlemen.
We have a Fastback.
Yeah,
What's going on, brother?
Hey, Fastback.
How you doing? Glad to have you on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started early over here. My daughter's already been in school 2 weeks already.
My goodness.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, I thought you meant the show. I was like, yeah, you guys start on time.
I was determined. I was determined to start us on time this time.
Yeah, you guys start like mid.
An hour in when we really start.
That's true. So, being that Rab is in a remote location.
I know too well.
Yes, Rab's in a remote location that is
undisclosed.
Undisclosed,
barely internet.
Barely
no
internet.
Phone service.
No phone service, and he's here. So.
Yeah, Peter.
So periodically tonight, I will be frozen in a very awkward look. So just place your bets and let's see what we get.
That's awesome. All right, hang on. Oh, now that Chris came in, let me turn that off, and the echo will go away. Thank you, back. See our wonderful family in chat. Just helps keep the show kind of in the right audio and video spot. So, Chris, what's going on, man? Happy Tuesday.
Just work, and getting ready to go to the beach. My turn to go take.
Oh, that's right.
This weekend, so
nice.
Yeah, so much needed. Other than that, I've been playing Saints Row, the new Saints Row game.
All right, so yeah, we want to hear more about that because I tell you what, even the most, and this sets it up, of course, even the most ardent Saints Row fans are like, I can't get through this game. So I want to hear, because last week you'd gotten as far as the intro.
Yeah.
So how are you doing now?
Yeah, the intro was kind of rough. It was like, not really feeling these characters. But once you get past that, and then the world opens, the sandbox, and you start doing the missions, the main missions, you really start getting into understanding the crew that you're with, and each character, as you do missions for each of your friends, because you have roommates with 3 other people. and the other 3 are part of a different game each. So as the main missions progress, you start getting a better feel for them, for what your group is all about, and then it moves into the Saints Row, like the new chapter of the Saints, right? With this group,
Right.
Group of friends. They're not the original. They're not that the characters are obviously young millennials, whatever you want to call it. The game is based selling towards the younger crowd. We are not the young crowd anymore. So the original Saints Row
Gen
members,
Z.
that was our stuff back then. Our gen, the Gen X. So it's sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm a little old, but as I've been progressing and doing more missions, it's just fun. You're unlocking things where you can unlock, upgrading your vehicles, stealing vehicles, and collecting those, and just customizing. And then you have weapons that you can also do the same thing. You can kind of get into all that, and the city allows you to kind of add businesses, and kind of like what the Saints Row 2 was, where you start taking over regions around the city, as a game. And this one kind of is like you're taking over the city, as businesses, a business venture. Of course, your crime is being run through all that, right? But it's starting to open up, and it's become fun, much more fun. You get at first
Grow your operations and expand your empire.
Yeah, I mean I'm enjoying it, and some of the humor has been pretty good. So, I'm looking forward to finishing the main story. And
All right.
and I've been doing more of the main missions than I had the side stuff. But
Okay.
it's been so I guess I'm playing on the normal mode or whatever. So, I mean, it seems like you have almost like this. People are shooting at you like crazy, but I think I've died once, maybe twice. So there's a lot of forgiveness and the combat, depending on the difficulty, I guess you put it on. But yeah, I mean, the driving's been pretty good. I think at first, for some reason, the sound quality is not that great, and so sometimes I'm driving around or flying around, I'm like, I don't really hear the vehicles. They don't. The quality of the vehicles or whatever are not all that great. GTA definitely has that, but I don't expect like Forza Horizon or Motorsport type quality, but a little bit better than that. So I think on there some things are not all that great, but overall it's fun. It's just stupid fun game, and the more missions I do, like I said, I'm starting to get in more into it and get it, and I'm starting to care a little bit more about the characters, each one of them. So it's not bad. I'm not sure if it's worth the full price, $59.
That's the
maybe
question I was going to ask.
I think
you.
a 49 probably would have been a better, because you're not getting the art style and all that. It's okay. It's not graphically great, but it's nice looking. I think I think a $49 would have been better for this one.
Well, and price is something we're going to talk about tonight, gentlemen, because
Yeah.
we're as
Is the price not right?
Yeah. Well, and as I've named I've named the show tonight, and it's kind of a play. Chris will understand the reference. And one of our old hosts, Frankie, would. It's a little homage to him. We are in uncharted waters with with the way things are going in the gaming industry, and especially news out of Sony. We're gonna get to that in a little bit. But
Yeah.
as long as we're able to keep Rab's internet running, no.
Yeah, I'm up to
Mr.
3 bars, so I might be here a little bit.
Okay.
But if you ask a really
Alright.
hard question, then I'll just fake it and just like start to scramble and
So we might have to get to the topic sooner,
I know. So that
you know, just in case
I
we
know.
lose them.
See,
No, we're good. We're good. You've got an agenda here. I sure things will hold up.
I'm sure. Well, it's in a. It's funny how you say that. Agenda. it's our topic list. But first, we like to just as best as you can through your internet, Rab. Since we've got you here finally one-on-one, and it's awesome to have you. It will, you know, I appreciate you coming in and filling in. You know, as people might see, Peter is not here tonight. Peter is on vacation. He is at the beach, soaking up the sun, driving some go-karts, having a good time. He may pop in. We'll see. I'll keep an eye on the Discord, and if he's around, he, of course, can come in and say hi. But he is on vacation, so Rab very dutifully and very graciously stepped in, as we like to do for each other. Because I know I've stepped in for you.
Graciously. I look forward to a tanned Peter next week.
Mm-hmm. Which would be
You
funny
did?
because he's from the Netherlands, because I'd like to see that. So,
Yeah.
We always
He
do
gets a
this.
Dutch orange. It's good. Looks good.
I'd like this. I would like to see. So you know that when we have guests on, and we have guests on for the first time, and this isn't exactly your first time on, but your first time alone. So, as we
Yes.
like to do with our first timers, to an extent, I want to get to know the Rab a little bit. Like, you know, we see you with Chuck and Nick on Wednesdays on Amico Forever, and we see the really great, and I mean great, you know, documentary style videos that you put out, and you know,
Once per year.
But hey, we look forward to that once per year. But we want to get to know
Yeah,
you a little bit.
2022 needs to slow down.
Yeah, no kidding. We're in
It's almost over.
on Thursday is September.
Again. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, we want to hear about your history, how you got to where you are in gaming, and how, you know, what did you grow up playing? What was young Rab doing in the gaming sphere? You know, we want to hear all the good juicy stories of the gaming history of the Retro Advisory Board.
Oh, well, there goes all my personal stories for those videos I was going to get to in the 2030s after I bored you guys with documentaries. I have been playing video games as long as I can remember. My parents both come from very large families, so they would always have their cousins over. I would go to my, you know, aunt and uncle's house, and or my, you know, my mom's cousins or my dad's cousins, and there would be you know, different systems at different families' homes. I think video gaming is something kind of ingrained from early on that we just kind of bought into. I went to a lot of arcades, but my time at arcades, because I really was a penny pincher, I didn't spend a lot of my quarters at arcades. I watched a lot of other kids play, and really learned about a lot of the games I'd like, and I took like pads of paper with me, and I'd draw out what I thought the game was, and then I'd go home and I would kind of build off of what I saw and kind of imagine what those games would become on my little pads of paper and my little nascent game design as a small child, and those will stay locked away forever because they were horrible. And kind of how it goes when you're 6, 7, 8 years old. My first system that I can remember playing was the original Magnavox Odyssey, and this is definitely after the Odyssey's lifespan ended. I think the Odyssey ended in 75, so this would be just a little bit after that. My mom's cousins would set out the Odyssey for me to play because I couldn't screw up anything like I could like with the Atari. And I played the Atari as well, but I was still kind of learning how to get that and learning how to hold it. So, and I was just twisting the knobs on the Odyssey, but I loved the putting on the plastic overlays on the TV and trying to trace and seeing the little light and making the light move. And one of the things that my dad would bring every week was like some draft paper, and I would like plug it over the TV, and I would draw my own ski routes to like make my own game for skiing, or my house and put ghosts and stuff and try to kind of maneuver around with that Odyssey. And I remember just playing that like every weekend for hours on end, building those little games and building like a mine and a maze to try to go and navigate with the Odyssey. And I just thought that was the world. That was my introduction to gaming. And that probably lasted for like a year or so, and then I kind of graduated to the Atari, and television came not long after. One of my cousins had an Intellivision. I didn't get to play it a lot. He was quite a bit older than me, so a lot of those games were a little bit more advanced. He would pull it out and have me play when he had to do something two-player. But if it was a one-player game, he basically played and didn't want me to pester him around then. So I got to watch a little bit. I didn't get a lot of alone time with the Intellivision until probably 86, 87. This was years later when I was quite a bit older, and we got a used Intellivision for like $40 from like a yard sale. So that came later on. But yeah, that's my early history with gaming. And the ColecoVision, the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis. I just kept going with gaming. I don't think I ever graduated out of it. I always found it very interesting to collect for. I always collected any games I could get from pawn shops or stoop sales. I would pick up, and it's just grown with me throughout my life. And I will take a breath now.
Nice.
Is that enough?
No, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've ever had a guest on the show that said they started with the Magnavox Odyssey.
That's the first.
That is a first. That is hardcore. Especially since I remember the Odyssey.
You whippersnappers.
I know, right? I thought I was old.
I'm a little bit younger than the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to give like my exact age. The side of gaming that I tend to cover tends to be a little bit more aggressive with going after some personal details. Yeah. I was young when when the Odyssey was out. Was before my time, but the Odyssey 200, 300, 1000, those systems I can remember, getting those. So it was a couple years after the Odyssey, a few years after the Odyssey kind of ended that I was playing and doodling and doing all that stuff. So this would have been, later 70s.
There you go.
No, I used to love having the tracing paper myself, and that's what helped me kind of get into. I used to love drawing, but some stuff hard to draw, like cars and certain things. So I would use tracing paper to learn how, and then over time, I started to be able to do that on my own without it, So, but I used to love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the first time we got a VCR and could pause a screen, I was just like, I recorded everything on Saturday mornings, and I would trace, every cartoon that came on, whether it was, Black Star or the Smurfs or Inspector Gadget, does not matter.
Yeah.
Just one quick sec. I just wanted to roll back up. My brother Doggy Dog.
Big Block. We did talk about that.
Yeah. So his original Odyssey start. Doggy Dog 420, our Gamers United guild brother. He I'm a member for 12 months, friends of NLG. I love you guys. Fist bump heart. Doggy Dog, love you too. Doggy, as many of you guys in the chat know, part of the awesome Retro Renegades, which was just on before us at 7. And then he is back on Friday night with Axel 1324 Gaming and the lovely Princess Zelda with the Iconic Video Games Podcast. Always an awesome time.
Definitely recommend everybody go give those guys a follow on that. It's a fun show, very humble, and just down to earth, just straight gaming. No drama, none of that stuff.
Doggy's got
And
an impressive
oh
arcade.
yeah,
That barcade
Yeah.
he's got, man, is a thing of beauty, and he keeps adding to it.
yeah.
And
I know. It's like I think just his background, seeing all that. That's one reason why I got the X-Men arcade, one up arcade.
oh yes, the one behind you.
Yeah.
Oh. By the way, shout out to PandaSub2000 with the $1 billion super chat. You're welcome. Keep up the great work. Don't cash the check until I've left the country. That's good to see Panda out here today.
Those are Zimbabwe dollars.
Yeah.
That's about 350.
Right. Oh,
Thank you,
I'm
Panda.
expecting him to send me an email that he has a bank account that needs to be transferred to me.
That's Nigeria, completely different scheme. This is just a money changing scheme there. That's it.
Okay, you never know. And a wild flamingo has
It's like
entered.
tradition, right? You just can't enough.
Right. And a wild flamingo has entered the chat. Marty Flamingo is here.
Are we? Once you get Marty Flamingo in the chat, you know you made it.
That's it. That's it. We are destined for
yes.
greatness.
I think I may have brought a little bit of crossover crowd.
Maybe just a little.
That's cool.
Well,
Welcome,
I
everybody.
think one of our topics has brought some of the crossover crowd.
That helps too.
Yeah, not everybody here is pining for the PlayStation news, so. But we're talking about it anyway.
Should be.
I know. It affects everybody, actually. I mean, it's a industry, and there's a couple of pieces to that. But before we do that, so Rab, what kind of games do you typically like? What's your fancy? So as you've come up, and are you because we don't really talk about this much, and
You don't?
well, and Amico Forever is a lot of retro gaming and stuff like that, because Chuck's not as big into modern games as like Nick and I. What do you play? What do you like? And what are you playing anything modern wise?
I have a Switch, I have a PS4, I have a Xbox One. I don't have any of the latest generation iterations of the Xbox or PlayStation systems. I saw my first Xbox Series X in a store yesterday. So it was like a take a photo moment. I was like taking 25 pictures there, just like couldn't believe it. I'll always remember that moment where I was.
Wait, did you get it, or did you just take pictures of it?
I just took pictures. I didn't think I'd see one before like 2023, so I was pretty shocked. Yeah, I don't play as many PS4 games as I have in my library. I have a ton of backlog on that system, just because I found a lot of the games really are immersive. There's been a couple, like it's Take-Two or Citadel or some other games that I've played more recently, but there's just a good 80 games sitting on my shelf waiting for me to like open up. Between having this channel, covering the stuff on Amico, some of the stuff for work, raising my kids, I just have not found I have as much time to play those systems as maybe I had 7-8 years ago. I do a lot more mobile games, tablet games with my kids, some games on my Switch, but mostly I still play quite a bit of Wii U and 3DS, actually. So those kind of occupy a little more of my time. But that's kind of it for modern gaming. I do a little bit of I have a Steam account. I've got a good 200 games on there that I purchased, and like 20 of those games that I've invested any time in. So yeah, as far as the question, like, what are you playing now? I don't have good answers for you. I've got some mobile games that are like just going to have people laugh at me that I'm playing either with my kids or some time wasters that I will play like competitively, like with my wife, and there's just a few. There's just a few of those. I spend a lot more of my time going back to the retro games, doing some stuff for capturing footage, figuring out how to like do screen captures and stuff with those systems. I tend to spend probably what I would be spending gaming time over the past 2 years. I've probably plugged into doing a lot of research, looking at old trade magazines, theses, reading any books that are at the library and I can get my hands on. So that's kind of my gaming sphere is more the academic side at the moment. I know that's a boring answer, but
no, but well, but we all have. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna stand in solidarity with you.
it's different.
Hang on, hang on. I'm gonna stand in solidarity with you because
It's last level gaming.
Because you know what? The truth is, I'm playing freaking Royal Match every day. So I'm playing this crap too.
I knew it.
And well, so
Yeah.
right. And look, they're all making cannoli jokes at you now. Lady Ventress and such. And hey, it's Casatel. Think I didn't remember. I've been keeping that one in the memory hole. Hey, look, I had to ask you 7 times what those were, so after a while, I just remember it. So
Right.
I just remember that stuff tasted delicious. That's all I can remember. So, but and part of tonight's news, that we're going to cover with Sony is centered around mobile gaming. So I mean, people can say what they want, but mobile gaming is not, number one, it's not going anywhere. Number two, it's becoming a much bigger
It is a full half of the market.
Yep.
yeah. And people need to start realizing that. So with that, I guess the only thing I haven't talked about is if I played anything this weekend, this week, and the only thing I've really, I'll be honest, what I've been doing this week, I have been diving into the Atari VCS recharge games. I'm working on my next VCS video, which is going to be a not just everybody else and love the content. And in fact, if you want to know, a lot about VCS games and one of the authorities on the Atari VCS, and he's in the chat, being very quiet, but Bacon Ice Cream Productions, Brother Rich, that man is everything you want to know about the VCS in his videos and stuff. And in fact, he's already covered Yar's Revenge Recharge, which I'm getting ready to pick up this week as well. But I'm working on a new VCS video that doesn't just talk about the recharge games themselves, but what I found, and this is something that's I'm starting to understand Atari's idea. So it's been neat to play because the Atari VCS has the Vault, and of course the Vault has arcade and 2600 games in it. It's been kind of neat to put my hands on, say, Gravatar, the arcade Gravatar, and then the Atari 2600 Gravatar, and then play Gravatar Recharged and see what the difference is. And I like what Atari has been doing with their games. And more specifically, I like how they have been integrating excuse me, integrating the classic controller with the spinner, where didn't have that with a lot of the 2600 versions of, and sometimes even the arcade versions of games. So like Gravitar does not use the spinner for the arcade in the 2600 version, but it does for the recharge version, and it changes the game to a point to where I like it. I mean, I really like it. So what I'm doing is I'm going to start putting together some of those.
Well, and the standard paddles that you would get with the 2600, I don't think would work well with Gravitar. I mean, the racing paddles I think would work better as spinner for that, but then you have your limitations.
Yes. Well, what is the interesting thing is that the arcade Gravitar didn't have a spinner either. You moved left and right rather than spun the stick. And Gravitar Reloaded lets you use the spinner on the classic controller to spin your ship around, and it is immensely nicer. And so I cover that one. I cover Tempest. I cover Breakout. And I'm getting ready to buy Yar's Revenge Recharged, and I'm going to cover Yar's Revenge. And that's what, you know, it's I like it. Oh, we got a brother Carlo in the chat. 4GQTV, our Thursday night entertainment from the Gamers United Guild. Our brother Italian Clowns in the house.
Mr. Italian Clowns.
Yeah, Big Block said he bought the PS5 version of Yar's Revenge Recharged. He likes playing it on the PS5 controller, and that game I'm sure would be great. But and I'm going to talk about this a little bit when we get into the Amico update, because you know, most of the people in the chat probably are on the mailing list, have gotten the email, they know what we're going to talk about, but I have some thoughts on this based on my usage of the VCS when we get there, and I'm curious as to your guys' thoughts on mine as we kind of rust through the chafe to get what we want to talk about. But that's what I'm working on. I'm working on another set of Atari videos. And just trying to get some content going again. I know I want to get my streams going again. I know I want to get a lot of this stuff going. And I keep saying it, but man, I need the time. Time is the enemy of game streaming.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you have a family, you have scouts, you have so much other stuff going on, and we're all in the same boat. I mean, like me, you, and Peter, this whole summer, it's like our kids had stuff going on, sports or whatever. That's one reason why we moved the show to Tuesday a little bit later to help out with that, right? So
very true.
But I see all of us finally, now that things are kind of going into the holidays, fall, home a little bit, maybe a little bit more. Maybe we can, even myself, do some more streaming. So
you always have optimism.
I try.
Optimism can be a powerful tool. Might not get you anywhere, but it'll at least keep you happy. So, all right. So, get to what I was looking at. I don't know if they put this on their blog, or yes, they did. It was pretty brazen to put it on their blog. So let's get into some of get into some of these topics here. Want to say hi to, real quick, Axel1324 Gaming. We were just talking about you and the wonderful Iconic Video Games podcast that's on Friday night with you, Doggy, and the lovely Princess Zelda. And EverCanadian is here. Brother Pete's in the house. So what's going on? So we are filling up quick. All right. So I don't have, it's funny, I don't have Peter here to say next topic. So Chris, you take it.
Next topic, please. Did I sound like Peter?
You did just about.
Not bad.
That's not
Yeah.
bad at all. All right. So we've got lots of PlayStation news. Some of it's good, some of it's not. And well, it's hard to Sony has been making news lately for not always the right reasons. And sorry folks, I can't help what they're doing. But we can kind of make it we can make it through to see what we see here. So this of course was the biggest news kind of the last week that sent social media into a tizzy for sure, and that is
A calm discourse.
a calm discourse indeed. The price of the PlayStation 5 is going to increase in select markets due to the global economic environment, including high inflation rates. Now, before I get into this, no matter what we make of this on a whole, I think it's fair for us to all recognize that this is a first in the industry. Of course,
Fairchild did this in '77. They raised the price by about 15 to 20%.
In the
just
middle
because
of
their costs.
but after launch,
I think about 12 months after, maybe it was 8 months after releasing, they had to raise the cost. They were losing too much money.
and the
So there's
Fairchild
been
was
1976. So we're going back.
all right. So
That was around the gas hike price too, around that time, right?
Yeah, gas hike. So shipping costs were much more expensive. Metal costs were stagflation. Everything was going up, kind of like today.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to I'm trying to picture what the
I
Fairchild.
would probably.
What is the Fairchild? Because I don't think people understand what it is.
Only the first programmable. Yeah, it was originally called the Video Entertainment System. It was the first programmable video game system where you have changeable cartridges. You had these yellow cartridges that you plugged in to change out games. Originally envisioned as Project Raven, it was, I think, the first microprocessor. No, I mean, you had Pong. You had System on a Chips, but it was the first microprocessor that was a microcontroller and could handle all the changing games. It had two controllers that were basically just think of like joysticks, and it had a knob at the top that you could pivot left and right, back, forward. So you had like 8 directions of functionality with those knobs on the top.
All right, we're going after. We're taking a look for this thing. All right, here we go. The Fairchild Video Entertainment System.
Channel.
Oh, so it basically
Because it
was
with RE's video computer system.
right. That basically was for all intents and purposes, a Pong machine. Hockey, tennis.
The 2600 before the 2600, it had hockey. It had
I see it. Tennis.
Boxing. It had skiing. It had racing. Yeah, it had astro blasting. It had a lot of different games. Space War. So it had, I think, about 26 different games on it.
No kidding.
All through different carts that you could buy.
There we go.
Yeah, and I think they sold about 350,000 of them over roughly 3 years. But the company that made it, Fairchild, they introduced the microprocessor to the world. They had taken a beating on digital watches and were basically running scared the entirety of putting that system out. And yeah, they nearly crashed and burned after the first year. Retailers didn't want to stock the unit after all of these Pong clones were sitting there and not selling, and you had inexpensive portable games like the Mattel Electronics games, the little LED light games that you buy for $20. Retailers were like, why are we going to stock this $175 system, $200 system, when our customers are going to just gravitate to this $25 system? A game is a game is a game, and they'll buy those all day. It was like, do you buy a Nintendo Entertainment System or do you buy a Tiger handheld electronic? Just that argument in, 1977, 1978.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to amend my statement. Jennifer, Jesus, General Meow has now entered. So we have had a flamingo and a cat. So it's fantastic. We have a zoo in our chat. So, all right. So I'm going to amend my statement because I would imagine that outside of you and Scepter and Relic, not sure how many people actually knew of this thing.
Well, 1968 Camaro streams with it.
All right. That is awesome. Channel F. So, all right. So they raised their price by 20%. Okay. So I'm going to amend my statement and say this is the first time that I think we've seen in living memory that we have seen a major market leading company raise the price of one of their best selling and most and honestly they're making a profit on the console. This is the first time that we've seen that price range, that price increase. And I mean, the system hasn't been out but a year. Has it been a year yet, Chris? Did this come out in November? I mean, when did it?
November of 2020.
2020. So just
2 years, almost 2 years.
Yeah. Right. 2021 has been a blur to me. So, and as Hasslehoff is pointing out, this isn't also the first company to do it. Meta did it with their Oculus. MetaQuest VR headset. They're raising their price, right? And now Sony is raising their price.
But I mean, but when we, you got PlayStation, Xbox, not even Sega, but Nintendo, have not seen that with them like this after going in 2 years or so. Normally, like last gen, we saw a mid-gen refresh, right? And so
yes,
right,
they had a price for that. I think, the series, the 1X was a little bit more, and the Pro was more, but they offered more, upgraded. So this is not. These are the same ones that were from launch.
Well, and if you guys remember, I know, Chris, we've talked about this shortly after the PS5 launched. They did a redesign on the internals of the PS5 to try to bring those costs down to get, so they did that, and they still,
it is a weird time, and I think we have to remember the game of chicken that Sony and Microsoft were playing at the very end of 2020. Neither would release all the specifics about their console. Neither would name a price. And this was August of 2020. I think the end of August of 2020, finally Microsoft released a price of the Series X and the Series S. And I think pricing, I a lot of customers, pricing is strategic. Your price has to be competitive on the market. I don't know but we don't know enough about all the decisions Sony's made and why they're making those decisions. Sony doesn't have the diversification of income that it used to have 10, 15 years ago. You know, Sony Entertainment, Sony Studios, PlayStation is their baby. PlayStation is their major force. Hard TV, Sony Vio, all of that kind of contracted, if not collapsed, over the past decade and a half. So they really have all of their horses in the PlayStation brand. And I think they really had to be somewhat competitive with Microsoft, which is why when Microsoft came out with the they knew Microsoft was coming out with the Series S. And when they said $299, I think, okay, so we're going to put the all digital version of the PS5 at $399 and then $100 more for the disk-based, the disk drive version.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, a lot of analysts were looking, the cost of a disk drive is roughly $45, $50. So they figured there would be a $50 increase because they wouldn't pad, you know, that much profit margin in there. But I think Sony's looking at this and they have to still make money on the system. They're going to make money on the games. They have to make money on the system. I don't think they can do quite as strong a razor and razor blade model. They have stockholders to report to. They don't want to be, you know, their stock to drop and lose a ton of money because they're seen as losing market share, losing ground, you know, not performing as optimal as they can. I think it's tough to be the big dog in front. And I think Sony they were not prepared to ride out that price that they announced back in 2020, in August of 2020, for as long as they did, coupled with the you know, the semiconductor chip shortage and the part shortage and the logistics errors and inflation going up and the valuation of the dollar being really weird towards, you know, versus Europe versus other markets, Japan. So I just don't think they were prepared. And I think they're forced to kind of raise this price because they know that things are not going to turn around as much as they hope.
Yeah, and but these markets besides the U.S.
Right.
So not raising the price in the U.S., does that mean because they want to stay competitive with Xbox? Because Xbox has been doing very well in the U.S., right? I think Xbox has been ahead in the U.S., which is a bigger market. And maybe they feel like they have an advantage in these other regions that Xbox is not as done well, right, in the past.
Well, yeah, Sony has always owned Europe.
Yeah.
So
yes, that's what makes
Fortress Sony is Europe. So
that's what makes
they
this
lost
so
Japan.
wild.
So that's a big hit as well over this generation.
That's what makes this so wild. So I have a theory that they want to raise the price in the US, but they can't, right? Because Microsoft is already, let's be honest, Microsoft is doing much better than anybody thought they would, right? Coming out of remember,
very competitive.
This is go ahead. I'm saying this is
I was interrupting. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It would be a media fiasco here.
Yeah, this is a company with the Xbox that, you know, at one time people were talking about Microsoft getting rid of, and now they have the Xbox Series X and the Series S. More than that, has sold more than any of their previous consoles, including the 360, which is a hard thing to do. And Phil Spencer is already saying it's going to be very difficult to get an Xbox this holiday season because he's seeing the same chip shortage that is still going on, the same semiconductor shortage, the same supply chain issues, the same thing. But what Microsoft is not doing, and Nintendo came out and said they're not doing it, is they're not raising the price of their systems anywhere. I wonder, and I get your guys' take on this. It is unfathomable for them to be so, I would say, so brazen as to raise the price in the place where they are arguably, you know, stronghold, like you said, Rab. Do you guys think that they're having to do this and raise the price in Europe, UK, Japan, China, Australia, Mexico, and Canada to subsidize not raising the price in the United States?
Huh.
No, I don't think so. I mean, if they're looking at a price range, I mean, you know, Mexico and Canada are sizable markets, but I mean, you know, the Mexican market is going to be a fraction of the U.S. market. Canada, that's
Certainly.
like 10% of the U.S. I don't
But
think they're
UK and
trying
Europe.
to kind of make it up by raising it that much. I think if it's going to raise, then it's got to raise like $50. You know, a $20 raise, a $25 raise might be seen as too weak. I mean, also, this is not just prices for us consumers. This is also signaling to, you know, to their investors, to their stockholders, what they are going forward, so that they're not panicked. I mean, they think they can raise it $50 and still kind of hold most of that market share.
Yeah, and I think they will, but I think they're confident in a lot of the games that they have coming. I mean, Ragnarok's coming soon, and their games receive very well, and I think they feel that they can survive the price hike and still remain, you know, competitive in the other markets.
Yeah.
While Xbox and Microsoft are
Agreed.
trying to gain traction in those markets. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes through during the holidays. I still think Microsoft Xbox will probably be right there with Nintendo in the November rush, but
Definitely.
in December. But you know, we'll see going forward when their big games like Ragnarok, how well that does. You know, how many bundles do they sell of that? You know, because the UK, they do well there, and you see when they have their exclusives come out, they're at the top. You know, so.
So let me add, but okay.
It's always a bump in sales when you have that nice headlining exclusive.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to pick up on something that Relic just said. He said what people don't understand is Microsoft subsidizes it to Game Pass to keep their console prices down. Sony can't do that. I don't.
They can't do that right now, but if they put in,
yeah,
if they go day of date, that could increase the subscription.
That could.
Services.
So, and that's the thing is that Sony is redesigning their PlayStation Plus, and nobody thinks that they're competing with the Game Pass on that, but that is revenue coming in.
And that's what surprises me is that they just did that redesign of PlayStation Plus and the pricing structure. I can't speak tonight. Knowing that this was around the corner, knowing that the price might have to be raised, and they kind of went the option of keep PlayStation Plus as competitively priced towards what Game Pass is offering, basically go head to head on a competitive offering with Game Pass, not on the price of the console. They're more comfortable raising the price of the console and saying you can pay a little bit more, you get exclusives, and your PlayStation Plus is still a great deal. It's comparable to Game Pass. Maybe Game Pass is the best deal in gaming, but they didn't raise that price. They didn't start with a, you know, significantly higher price for that. I think they really see that as an important part of their revenue structure going forward. And I think that Sony sees they need to stay competitive with Game Pass, with Microsoft. And that's been Microsoft's game. The subscription as a service has been Microsoft's game.
Yeah, that and then the PC market. And so we've been seeing more Sony games on PC coming out a little bit sooner than what they probably, lately. I mean, so we probably start getting closer and closer to that day of date. Maybe they might start looking at that at some point.
Well, and I don't know if you've seen this in the last few days, and this will kind of bleed into the other piece of news, but Sony is doubling down on their PC releases. I am quite sure I saw Jim Ryan say he is confident that half of their new titles are going to be on PC at very soon. In fact, they added a. Let me see. There's a. I don't think it's there yet, but I thought they were adding an actual PC section to their site. They haven't yet.
Yeah, I think that's been that. Yeah, I think I heard something.
But they're working on it. So now keep in mind too that not only are they raising the price here, Microsoft and Nintendo have said they're not raising their price. As Jesse says, Jesse Darby, brother Jesse's in the house. He says in the Xbox store you can get a Series S, which is a very comparable and capable machine if you're not specifically looking at strictly 4K. It's a powerful machine for $289. Sony doesn't have the ability at the moment to truly compete with that from a pricing standpoint, especially in the US. I don't know how they get that down, but you know, this is I do understand it's the direction they feel they've got to go in, right? This is, you know, and other systems that haven't come out or came out late. You know, we all talk about the price raising, you know, from where the Amico was to where it is now in the scheme of things. We saw the Poly Mega
$1 million
jump up. Yes, we saw the Poly Mega jump up in price from its original. The Atari VCS hasn't budged off of its price, which is still, you know, minus the GameStop fire sale. You know, that's not coming down. So I get it, and it's really the markets that they're increasing are a little weird, and it does make me wonder. It does make me still wonder why they're not raising it in the U.S. when they obviously. I mean, it's not as though inflation and all of the things that you mentioned, Rab, all the different factors, the chip shortages, the supply chain shortages. It's not like that is not happening here. It is happening here. But this is the one place where they dare not raise their price.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, that should tell you, I think, PlayStation, that the PlayStation ecosystem, despite their strength in Europe that they've long held, you know, maintaining the U.S. market share, maintaining that close competitive race with Microsoft here is too important for them to risk.
Yeah. I mean, they did release the PS5 in the U.S. first.
They did.
Yeah.
And so they put more product. They knew they were short on, so the U.S. got the bulk of the production in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I don't envy their position, and I'm quite empathetic to what Jim Ryan has to be facing right now. There can't be a lot of good decisions to have gone with a price increase like this, but I think, like I said, it does tell what they're prioritizing, what they're trying, I think, communicate to their stockholders and where they think their strength is moving forward. And I don't think it is in being competitively priced with the Xbox. I think that's a game that Xbox can throw money at forever. I mean, yeah. Microsoft is a $2 trillion industry. Azure alone is going to more than cover any of those costs. I mean, those businesses that are making a lot of money through the past couple of years, we don't know what prices they're paying for their, you know, for any of their cloud services. So they can insulate in ways that PlayStation can't. Sony is a strictly commercial consumer-facing company. They have to be price competitive. They have to be showing that they are winning on those fronts to kind of be the same Sony that they've been for the past 20 years.
Yeah. And going back a few years, they stopped going to E3, spending money on that. They've, they
not
just
at
do their
Gamescom.
state of play.
They were not at
Yeah, they
Gamescom
stopped really
at
doing a
all.
lot of these conventions. Of course, the pandemic kind of put that back, but they've cut corners in other areas. So I'm sure they've acquired more studios. They're spending the money on the games as far as the budget. But they've also, like you said, they're having to pay for cloud services, Azure. They're getting into the mobile. They're still going with the PSVR. So that also costs money.
And we have no idea what that's going to cost when it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they No, go ahead.
Go ahead. And they moved their headquarters to the U.S., which we think, okay, that's great. That means they care about us. But I think more importantly, Japan is an export-based economy, and to move your headquarters here and now basically do all of you're not doing the currency conversion. You're not taking a hit when the Japanese yen is fluctuating to the dollar. The dollar and the euro are pretty much within a steady range of each other. The yen to an extent, but like I said, that is a much more export-based economy. So moving that stuff here, I think they thought would stabilize their pricing and stuff moving forward as well.
You're also seeing they're also putting money into making shows and movies off of their games. So they've adjusted to where they're going to focus spending money on certain areas, and they're not going to do what they normally have done it for PlayStation in the past. So raising their prices in these other markets will probably help too, because they, like you said, they don't have the money that they don't have Microsoft to back them up like Xbox does. So they have to do what they can to survive for now. It's gonna piss off consumers, and consumers will dictate that what they think of it. Will they, when they go to the store or however online, and they decide, well, $50 is a big difference to me, I'm going to go to Xbox. Series S is a great value too right now. So
now, with most of these not being retail, I mean, we kind of always put up this, I'm going to go to the store to see that this is $50 less. Like I said, I saw the first Series X ever just 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Does that play like it used to play? I mean, if you are going to get a Switch, are you doing a search and then also seeing like, oh, this Series S has these other games and it's only $299 and it looks a lot more modern and it has all these, it has Game Pass and all this other stuff. I'm going to go with that instead. Do we kind of have any early data on customers' kind of reaction to those prices? I mean, if Sony is a little bit more, does that hurt as much as we say it's hurting? And because we're a vocal, upset part of the community here online, I feel like we're 10, 20% of the total player base. There's a lot of people out there that they can't. They go online, they're going to see it's a bundle like $800, so that price is kind of hidden anyway.
I don't know if we're going to see that until the next sales cycle. Because this is something that sort of just hit. And and you're right. So that is, I think that is something that we have to temper. We're all complaining about it, and I've seen many people online complain about it, but I don't know. So for us here in the US, of course, it doesn't affect us. But I tell you what, I know it affects Pete, EverCanadian, because that price is going up in his market, right? I know that it affects
your friends online who played PS4.
Yep. And we have plenty. Like and they're going to be on next week with us. our very good friend Spooky Sprocket. He's in Australia. That price is going up there, right?
Yeah.
You know, we know people who are in the UK. We talk to all the time. You know, Chris, that's going up in Gaz's neck of the woods. So it's
I think like a lot of people, the majority of shopping is online, but right there, depending on how the market is done, how the bundles are done, and they lay it out, the value, that's where a lot of parents come into play, where they look at the price and the value, what they're getting.
Yep.
I think will make a difference during the holiday rush.
And
Yeah,
it's very
'cause, I mean, in-store
hard.
really
I mean, I
doesn't
remember
drive it much.
GameStop would not sell just the console. They insisted on bundling.
Yeah. They've pretty much been doing that with everything, Switch and all that. So that makes the price even go up higher too, for that.
And so on the back of that, on the back of seeing that, Sony is also making strides in a market that is also pissing off their fan base, which I don't look. The price hikes. I don't know how you. I get that it's a necessary evil, and again, we've seen other companies do it. And I tell you, when we had Phil on, you know, you guys remember Peter took him to task on raising the Amico price, right? Because we've talked about where that has raised, and that creates friction.
Certainly.
This is creating a ton of friction with Sony. Sony is arguably a larger company, and that's, you know, it's one thing for a young startup that's trying to get their thing out the door, that needs to get some revenue and make some money at the same time so they don't go under. Sony is not a startup. Sony is a company that has been making the PlayStation now for 30 years, right? And they've been through the ups and downs. They've been through the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4, and it's like they're headed back down with the 5. This would be the last thing I would think that they would do. And I get that they're not a $2 trillion company, but all indications is that they do make a profit on the PlayStation. Most modern consoles now are not sold anymore for for lost leadership, right? To make up in the aggregate with software. Those days have been gone for a while. That's why the Series X is a $500 console, and why the PlayStation 5 is a $500 console here and now higher in most places. If they, and maybe this is also because they're doing a reset. Let's be honest. Sony has ridden very high on their software. And I'm not making this statement to take a shot at their software, because obviously I truly love a lot of PlayStation games. I'm very much waiting for God of War Ragnarok, which, you know, thankfully is going to be out at a point in time when, you know, I gotta wait on Xbox games. So I got time to play God of War. They have rested on their laurels of their software. They don't have a lot of software coming out this year either. God of War is the big game, and I can't think much else for this year. So
Sonic, open world Sonic game, Frontiers
Sonic's coming.
Same day, right?
Multi-plat.
Oh,
So, multi-plat.
No, just
and don't, you
still.
know, I know, but my point is that they they know they've got it. I don't know. I'm having a hard time to understand why Sony would do it. I know why others had to do it. Know why Polymega had to raise their price. You know,
you're looking at operating costs, and I think you're the margins for a corporation Sony are the key deal, because that's what they're reporting to their stockholders.
Mm-hmm.
And that is them losing stock price, them losing market share, and having a narrative that they are doing something wrong and something is wrong at Sony, and they're not the market leader, and they're not going to make, your 5% like you thought they would, is their biggest scare. That going down is that would be their ruin. They can put out the PlayStation and profit a little bit from it, but it may not be what their shareholders are expecting. We just came from the highest of the high with PS4. And okay, I think this kind of brings us back to that conversation about $70 games. In Sony's mind, in Microsoft's mind, and Sony's been the big one that have been going forward with $70 price point, along with EA and Activision and Ubisoft and a few others. Inflation has gone up, what, 80% over the past 10 years? I mean, it is it is a major cost increase. Cost of living across the globe in all of these markets is twice what it was just 15 years ago. And yet we're still kind of we're still on the wavelength of a $60 game. And I think the numbers with what they're putting in doesn't make sense anymore for Sony, doesn't make sense for Microsoft. Microsoft has figured out a way to do this with Game Pass by, being able to kind of mix and match and give you perceived value and get tons and tons of non-ending infinite revenue through software as a service. PlayStation hasn't figured that out. They're still kind of stuck on that $60 game, $70 game model. And if you don't buy it new, they're not getting their money's worth, and they're falling short on their revenue.
Chris, do you think this pushes them over the edge of day and date into PlayStation Plus?
I think it will sooner than I think it will. I think they have to look at that so they can. Because when Ragnarok comes out, it's going to be on both PS4 and PS5, right? So they will still make some money.
Yep.
There are, still many people on the PS4. But if they had a day and date on, especially on PC, I think it would be number one on Steam. They would do very well on PC if they did a day and date. I'm not sure about the subscription. I'm sure they would. Yeah, definitely during the holidays, subscriptions would go up if it was day and date there too. So, but they're going that way. It's going that way.
Well, don't forget too that, and this and again, this is going to kind of segue into the next piece of PlayStation news. Sony has figured out that they can't rely on the PS5 alone, right? So, and not just PC. Remember, they're making money off of Microsoft for bringing MLB The Show 2 years in a row to the Xbox. I know they were their hand was forced in doing it, but they've benefited from it. And they benefited from that Game Pass money that Microsoft likely had to pay them as part of this deal.
Are they paying them, or is Microsoft paying MLB?
Somebody's got
the Game Pass deal was MLB, right? I thought it was a separate deal.
But it's still Sony's game. So it may have been a deal
but
where
that word MLB will give them a percentage of how many sales they get off Xbox.
I don't know. And I don't know how. I mean, that's a weird. But either way, Sony is still making money off of that.
They are.
So then we get to yesterday's news. I think it was yesterday. My days are blending in, and that is way too small of a picture. Try find a better picture. 1 second. Try to find a bigger picture than that. Talk amongst yourselves for a second.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Reb.
I
So
see
what's
that.
on the agenda for tomorrow?
So,
that we
day
took forever?
date. No,
Hey, I
Yeah,
hear there's
day
a.
and date.
I hear there's a.
I think we're going to talk food.
Ooh.
Yeah, I hear there's a. Hear there's a show that comes on tomorrow at 9:30. Something DJC Game Studios
Yeah.
channel. Something.
Yeah, I got to be careful. Chuck is watching. He's like, don't give away all your good stuff tonight. Just sort of like
Yeah.
nod a lot and let
I know.
Chris and Myke do the talking.
Hmm.
All right,
Also,
let's.
I don't know if it's part of the deal, but then Sony acquired a mobile studio.
That's what I'm
And
trying
we know
to.
they're getting into the mobile market.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying.
That's
That's
what
the
you're looking
picture.
for?
I'm.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the picture I was trying to bring up. That was way too freaking small for I don't know why.
So
Hold on.
they do realize that they have to open up more in the other markets, not just console markets, because that market is shrinking.
There we go. It is, and we
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah,
this a
I
little
think they
earlier.
realize there's.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
I
Rab.
was going to say, I just think they realize their strategy that, PlayStation is all of the best console experience you will ever have, and that's their sole focus. Yes, they could do that. They're getting devoured despite that.
Yeah.
Sega could be the best arcade manufacturer, and they had to expand. They would have gotten devoured otherwise.
Yeah. And that's Jim Ryan.
You just see this. Nintendo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was Jim Ryan's.
Yeah, he's a business guy, and
mantra.
he's making decisions that are not going to be appealing to those who believe PlayStation only. That's
Yeah.
going away. It's going to be more PlayStation ecosystem only, whatever, however you want to. Yeah. But
PlayStation Plus.
I still
Yeah.
I'm not ever gonna understand the mentality of that, and I'm glad that we don't have that mentality here here at NLG that I've seen across the across the social media sphere that now that Sony's getting into PC and is, hang on, let me make this picture a little smaller. Now you can see that Savage Game Studios is a mobile. I don't know why my pictures are not showing up right here. Is a mobile developer, right? So they're looking to get into mobile. Microsoft's doing the same thing by the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, which also has
Activision.
King, which also is Candy Crush. So Microsoft knows it. Everybody knows it. And so
Hearthstone
and look, even Diablo tried it.
tons.
Yeah. So the mobile market, whether gamers like it or not, is a big market. And
well, when you say gamers, I mean, because you have gamers on the mobile too. Probably more gamers on mobile than any of the other markets. So that's why Xbox and them had to tap into that. That's why you're seeing the games that you can play on console and PC, you can now play those through the cloud on mobile now.
So there's that. But I'm more talking about the straight up mobile stuff. So yep, we do have phones, crew watermarks, and I was showing earlier, I've got Royal Match and I've got, daily themed crossword, stuff like that. When I'm sitting, just on the couch, just watching TV, or if I'm just laying in bed trying to fall asleep, sometimes I'll play, as Dusk Falls, which is a great mobile version of the cloud game to play, but sometimes I'll just play Royal Match because I'm freaking addicted to it. So, it's a big
It can be
market.
mindless, guiltless entertainment that
Mm.
has reached far beyond what any of these companies could do just with a gaming group of fans who want their games to build elaborate worlds and experiences and AAA, replace the movie experience. And by the way, give me a 60-hour game that I can kind of explore, and then endless add-ons to that to keep that continuing forever. It's not a sustainable model.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not. And I think we all get into this mode, and Lord knows we're as we talk about the Amico update later, Lord knows this happens here too. You know, we always think that those of us who are on YouTube or on Twitter or we think that we are the market, right? And rightly so. We all hang around with each other. We all game with each other. We do and can influence the market in some ways. But I don't think as a whole, I'm not talking about necessarily us, and I'm not even talking necessarily about people in the chat. I think a lot of people I've been watching the chat, and I think the chat, these are smart gamers. There are smart family. They understand. When you get beyond people complaining on Twitter about mobile games, the statistics and the money speaks for itself, right?
Yeah.
The reason Microsoft is buying Activision is not just for Call of Duty. They want that Candy Crush money. Just like the reason they bought Mojang was and kept Minecraft on multiple platforms and mobile, because they knew that mobile is where a lot of kids play their stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sony understands a great deal that mobile is a place that they can tap into, and by the way, they could use mobile to bring people into their ecosystem, just like Microsoft is going to use mobile to bring people into the Xbox. They can bring people into PlayStation with mobile.
And mobile has the most versatile pricing structure and income revenue models available to these companies. So they can be flexible and they can have different approaches that they don't have for the prime gaming market, which is a lot of us.
Mm-hmm. And you can't tell. I mean, I think even the most ardent console warrior type person, if you put a truth serum in their neck, will admit that they probably have some sort of game on their phone they're playing that they're just wasting time with. And
of course, but
no one's gonna admit it.
But it's identity.
Yeah.
Right.
Today's console warrior, today's Xbot or Nintendrone or Sony Pony or I guess that's all we have to go into. PC
Yes.
overlord, we'll keep it there.
Yeah. PC. Yeah.
That's the equivalent of in the 70s and 80s. The rock snob. I mean, you ate, drank, and slept everything and anything that your group put out. The worst thing you could do is sell out, but anything and everything they put out, you were a devotee. And if you Led Zeppelin, you listen to, they know some Beatles songs. They had some Beatles songs, but you never own up to that. It's just like a continuous that same vein of, this is my identity. I am Sony. I am a console warrior. This is the way to play games. There's nothing good at mobile. I don't like what mobile is doing. I don't like, the downloadable content and the pay to win schemes and the the free to play and all of the garbage that they put on there and just the countless clones, all of that is like understandable arguments. But when you get down to it, it is a convenient in your pocket gaming diversion when you need it. I think it's understandable. We all have phones, we all have tablets, we all consume this. It's a very easy, natural fit for games beyond there. It's just not necessarily the fit for the type of gaming that we want to do and we want to have elevated, the premier gaming, and that is for the console place. It's got its space.
Right. Those people don't have to play those games.
There's a little bit of a delay, so I'm sorry if I interrupted any.
No, you're all good. You are all good, Rab. And I want to so here is as they're talking about this studio, they even said, here it is. Our mobile gaming efforts will be similarly addictive. So addictive to they talk about, as we assured you with our plans to bring select titles to PC, our efforts beyond console in no way diminish our commitment to the PlayStation community, nor our passion to keep making amazing single-player, narrative-driven experiences. And they are bringing VR too, and they have put Spider-Man and stuff on PC. Our mobile gaming efforts will be similarly addictive, providing more ways for more people to engage with our content and striving to reach new audiences unfamiliar with PlayStation and our games. Savage Game Studios is joining a newly created PlayStation Studios mobile division. Like, they're building a whole mobile division for this, which will operate independently from our console development and focus on innovative on-the-go experiences based on new and existing IP. In fact, they said Savage Game Studios is already working on a new unannounced AAA mobile live service action game. Revenue, by the way, that means revenue. It's too early to reveal more, but I'm excited. So that's Herman Hulse saying that. So, while I might have a problem with them raising the price of the PS5, for my friends across the pond, I don't have a problem with this. I don't have a problem with this at all. This is where everybody is going. It's where the market. It is a way for Sony to
dictates.
It does. The market is dictating this. That's a great point, Rab. I have no issue with this whatsoever.
I love it. And it's not just because I tend to play more mobile games than long AAA games as of late. It's a healthy move for Sony. And I think Sony has been an incredible champion. And I want them to be healthy for the next 20, 30 years. And I don't see them being healthy if they just stick to their bread and butter of AAA games. I think they will be... I think it's a dead end for them to not. They can continue to do that if they're making money elsewhere. I don't think they can continue to do that in this current model if they don't figure out something else. And if they're making a ton of money on mobile, I mean, Valve made a ton of money on, mobile and on Steam to be able to bring us the Steam Deck. So they've been able to subsidize the building of this incredibly interesting portable gaming system. So likewise, PlayStation could somewhat subsidize an incredibly interesting console gaming experience with mobile games.
Agreed. Oh, we got a lemon sighting. Brother 108 Dragons TV is in the house. Our brother, Gamers United Guild brother,
Amen.
Dragon's Den, which is coming back, Chris. The Dragon's Den is returning.
Yes.
It has its grand return on Saturday, and I'm here for it.
Too long.
Yes, and he drops a $5 super chat. Thank you, Brother Dragons. Brother Lemon, Sony is missing out on those day-and-date releases on PC because sales would be better than late 4 or 5 years after the games have been out. great show. I agree. I mean, Microsoft knows.
Yeah.
Microsoft's, I think, and I think you're right. The market dictates, and I think the market is going to, as Chris said earlier, market's going to push them in that direction far enough, soon enough. Jim, you say what you want about Jim Ryan. He's not the flashy guy that, that some of the previous guys are. He's not Kaz Hirai. He's not Sean Layden.
Or Yoshida.
But he's not. And Yoshida is still out there. Shuhei.
He is, but he seemed more relatable to gamers, and he's gotten a little bit more relatable over the years than when back in the day. But
and I think that when it comes down to it, moves like this, moves like getting Bungie, moves like understanding before it's way too late that their games need to be on more platforms, much like Microsoft does. And it doesn't have to, it's PC. It doesn't have to be cross-platform. Yes, they can do their little cross stuff where Minecraft's on the PlayStation and MLB The Show is on Xbox. And that's
where it
fine.
makes sense how big the game is. Like Call of Duty, it's going to stay multiplat. So not every game is going to be multiplat, but they'll pick and choose what makes sense.
They could go the route of Nintendo. Nintendo did not just put their standard. We didn't get Mario Odyssey on mobile, but we got Mario Run. We got Mario Kart World Tour. Really, because a lot of those games I don't think translate as well for mobile, but the essence of it and how the franchise and kind of use the power of the PlayStation IP and create some very interesting mobile games with some of these studios that they've acquired.
I am pretty sure people are still playing the crap out of Pokemon Go. I am positive. I mean, you still see Pokemon, Pokemon Go things out there. So I don't think I think that Nintendo does it as Nintendo needs to. I think because of the Switch, Nintendo doesn't feel like they have to do it because it's a handheld, right?
Well, they were doing it for their investors, and I think the Switch exploded enough that they could kind of back off of it and say, like, yeah, we're going to go the route of amusement parks. Oh, and a movie. We're going to do a Tetris movie.
Right. Right.
Not a Tetris, Dr. Mario.
Yeah.
I think, people have held on with Sony to the idea of, Sony, it's mine, right? It's my, you can't have my games, and it's just not the way of the world anymore. And I think I think we're I think that it's going to take some time, but I think in the end, Sony fans may see the benefit of what Sony's doing. It still doesn't mean that they're that it's right to jack up the price. But these moves, keeping Bungie, getting Bungie but keeping Destiny 2 multiplat, getting into mobile, I think people will understand that's how Microsoft got to where they are today, right? If Microsoft had kept their...
You're botting, Mike.
Am I?
Yeah.
All right, hang on.
I'm not sure if we're still live.
No,
I know on my end it's
I hear you.
The wheel's spinning.
Mine has been spinning several times, but I still hear you guys coming through.
Well, that's because that's Skype.
There's Skype, yeah.
All right, hold on, because I'm not seeing...
I'm also broadcasting out of Antarctica, the one other place that's not getting the price hike. So
all right,
it looks like we're still we're live.
Solidarity with the States.
Confirmed it.
Okay. All right. So that could have
He
been.
claimed that I rap though.
All
He said
right.
it's rap that we're worried about. No.
All right. So Boogie's saying no botting. So it might just be. Yeah. Might just be that, or might just be your internet.
Yeah.
Or,
It
so,
sounds
okay.
better now though.
All right. So what was I saying? Microsoft got a lot of crap too for going into PC and all this blah 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 blah. But look at what they've been able to do by getting into Game Pass, by getting into PC, by getting into these places, by diversifying their portfolio. They're in a position now to where they're getting into the catbird seat. They're not quite there yet. Sony is still the market leader. They are still the big kid on the block. But Microsoft in this generation, especially, look how many we've talked, and I have said over and over and over that 2022 is a horrible year for them from a game standpoint. It just is. But man, 2023 is going to be a huge year for Microsoft, and they are putting themselves in a position that all of this money they've been getting from Game Pass, all this money they've been getting from putting stuff on Epic and on Steam and Game Pass for PC is benefiting them. And I think it's going to take some time for Sony fans to understand it. I understand it as a Sony fan. I got a PS5 sitting up there. It doesn't mean at all that I'm going to miss out on anything because Spider-Man went to PC. I don't care. That stuff doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me if there's going to be a Horizon Zero Dawn mobile game. That doesn't stop me from enjoying my my PS5. Just like anything that comes out on PC doesn't affect my Xbox gaming. So again, I have no issue with this at all.
No.
And
then we got $2 super chat. Thank you, 108 Dragon Lemon. He says Microsoft is a PC company. First, they have to support, which yeah, they know, and they know that that's where their bread and butter was. Of course, PC with the software and all that, and they kind of went away with that as far as Xbox. They kind of had a separate division. Microsoft PC gaming, you had Xbox gaming, but that's all changed. So that's all under one umbrella.
Right.
So,
and
it's a smart way.
To Lemon's point, how long have PC gamers been complaining about Microsoft just concentrating on Xbox?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
But like when you were saying, well, PlayStation's the market leader. When you say market, what market? The console? Because like we've been talking about all this, how having to branch out and start expand, they realize they have to expand in the other markets. You could be a market leader in console all you want, but that's a small piece of the pie compared to the mobile and PC. And so, and now, and I know PlayStation's done it before. They had their own app, with a streaming app on their Sony TVs. But Xbox has done very good with the cloud gaming. It's come a long ways. It's working very well. Now, if you want to get a brand new Samsung TV, and I think LP's coming into play, where you can just go to the app, click on the games. You got Xbox Ultimate, Game Pass. You got all the games there that you can play. You can stream whatever's cloud gaming, on cloud gaming. And you have your controller and everything works.
And
Microsoft is reaping the rewards of several good decisions after, 6 years of very poor decisions, and PlayStation is facing some very rough times ahead after doubling down on, the future is not going to change that much. That where the future will change, it will be in VR. It will be in 4K. It will be in 8K, and that's not necessarily been the drivers.
Mm-hmm. And they have.
I mean, Google made a gamble as well and lost.
Yeah.
Mm. Yep.
And Sony's had to come back and say we are supporting PS4 for a couple more years, there's a reason why.
Yep. Absolutely. So, so Panda Sub says he's convinced I'm never going to be able to get a PS5 for 2 reasons. They don't exist anywhere, and I'm 10 cents away from being a homeless street magician. Hey, street magicians can do pretty nicely. But at least Hasslehoff is there to help him.
Yes.
There are really nice boxes out there these days you can live in. Good, solid boxes. Sturdy.
Just keep those puppets.
Yes.
I'm confused by Panda with this one. If he loses 10 more cents, he's gonna like resort to being a street musician, or if he has 10 more cents, then he can buy his kit and he can become a street musician. Because I will donate for the one. I'm not so sure about the other.
I'll give him 10 cents. I'll give him 20. I'll bring that.
I want to see the act.
I want to see Panda Sub as a street magician.
Yeah, that's the next gig.
I think that would be. I have thoughts on that, and maybe shouldn't. Street magician, mugger, shortchanged artist. Wow. So,
I think he's wearing the clown makeup right now as we speak.
right. So, all right. I'm afraid I'm gonna miss the Amico section if this goes on too late. Bah. I'm sorry, Screw. Look, we talk about everything. Everybody knows this is not an Amico only show. But I think we have run this into the ground, and it's time. Time to talk about
time
it.
For what everybody's waiting for.
I would, yes. They don't come. They don't come for the other stuff.
This is what Rap is here for.
That's what they right. They don't come for the PS5 stuff. Yes, they don't come for the PlayStation talk. They don't come for the Xbox talk. We know why everybody's here.
I thought you wanted to hear my Sony business investor stockholder stuff.
But Mike knows that if
Like,
we
get
would
this clown off.
have started talking Amico first, all of a sudden you would have. Sorry, my internet. You know,
Right.
Once the Amico was over,
Right. We got a lot of right.
So we got to keep you in. You know, get through the Sony stuff first, and then.
That's right. And we got to keep all the people in chat too.
Good deal.
You know.
Yeah.
Now we love in all
balance.
seriousness.
Yeah.
In all seriousness. So the great thing about our chat is, you know, everybody knows we are a multi-platform, multi-thing. We talk about everything, and we talk about the Amico,
except for the Fairchild Channel F.
Except for the Fairchild Channel F.
Well, now that you introduce it, now we're gonna add that to our list.
I'm gonna find one and I'm gonna stream it.
All right.
I'm gonna figure out how to stream it. So there's got to be an emulator for it for RetroArch. There's got to be. I will find it.
Yeah.
So, and you know we haven't had a chance to talk about the Amigo for a while because there hasn't been news in a while, and that's your guys' department. That's Amico Forever's department. Amico Forever, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on the DJC Game Studios channels, Wednesday. Member of the Gamers United Guild.
Qeorge Games said that we convinced him to get Game Pass, so he needs to pass that on to Phil.
Yes,
here at Microsoft, so we can get that percentage.
That's right. And hold on, because Lemon's in the chat. Let me Game Pass. I learned that from him. So, he's got the train, though. I will not. He's got the Game Pass train. I love that. So, all right. Okay, so here's what everybody's been waiting for.
Get out from my one, but you guys have left me behind.
God. All right. Here we go. So we have there you go. Lemon heard it. Thank you, brother Lemon. All right, so we have an update. And let me see how big I can make this email. This was an email that came out shortly after 5 o'clock today? I don't know. Came out, when did I get it? I got it at 4:46.
Yeah.
So, all right.
4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah, Nick said, I didn't come for Amico News. I came to make fun of Rab. So.
You can troll Rab.
Oh, Fairchild Channel F
Nick.
Tested and working on eBay for $280.
I like most of this audience.
Most of his audience. So, all right. Okay, so on to the Amico update. So we did get, and I'm going to preface this real quick. Folks, this is Next Level Gaming. We cover everything. We talk about everything. We are still interested and excited for this thing to come out. We hope it comes out. If it doesn't come out, the Xbox, the PlayStation, the Switch, the PC, the Atari VCS, everything else in the world of gaming to play, talk about, stream, have fun with. Sorry, guys. We still want this console too because we're gamers. It's a gaming console. It's got things we like. It's got things we want. It sucks that we have to make this disclaimer before we ever talk about Amico stuff, but here we are. So, oh, that's right. Dan says, don't forget the Evercade. Chris has an Evercade.
Yep.
Right.
So, okay. Here's the update. We got this. Those of you who are on the mailing list got this today. There are a few things to unpack from this. And I am aware, or from some reaction already. Some people aren't going to be happy with all of this. I get it. And I've got some thoughts on this that are going to, they'll make sense, I hope. Greetings. This is Phil Adam, CEO of Intellivision. Not me. Phil's on the screen there. So I plan to respond sooner with company status, but the team has been working through some production pipeline bugs that have delayed this update. As I've stated previously, updates from myself will be made when material facts are available and relevant. That being said, here are a few updates. One of the primary goals for the small pilot run was to uncover any issues in the production pipeline before starting a larger production run. Fortunately, we did catch one significant problem. Diagnosing this issue and implementing a solution was a significant effort and caused a delay. The symptoms pointed to a bug in the controller firmware, but that was not the case. The problem was an order of operations issue when provisioning the console on the production line. The production line, folks, keep that in mind. They're trying to go to production. On the line, this is what they have to do. The error manifested itself in the next reboot in a way that looked like a controller bug. With that resolved, the path is clear to finish the pilot run in the next few weeks. Let's start here because there's other news that I think is going to kind of take a little bit more unpacking, but this kind of is
Sure.
fairly significant in and of itself. So I found interesting that they went into what I would consider, and I'm just being totally honest here. Given the experience I've seen that comes out of Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo,
Minutia.
and everybody else, I have never seen somebody put out an update. I've never seen Phil Spencer come out and say, hey guys, we're in the middle of making the Xbox Series X, and we had a problem with the GPU that caused an order of operations issue with blah, 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 that caused our controller to stop, and so we're delayed because of that. Usually they just say, we have to delay our console to polish it to make it the best console we've ever made, and we'll let you know. But this went into a technical detail I wasn't expecting. Look, I'm not one to I don't hide things, I don't bullshit things. Everybody knows we've had Phil Adam on here in the past. People know that guys like Chuck, Rab, you, me, Nick, we talk to these guys, right? And again, for those of you kind of younger folks who have not understood what I do or what I have done in the past as a game journalist, talking to Phil Adam on a regular basis about the Intellivision Amico is not an uncommon thing for me. It is not something that, I've spent a lot of time talking to execs. Remember, I spent a lot of time talking to to Peter Moore, to Shane Kim, to people at Sony, people at EA. That's how I got on the back of boxes. It's how I got into an MLB game. Not an uncommon thing. So anyway, that said, that is an an unusual amount of information that they gave here. So unpack this for me,
Yeah,
Rab.
it is. It's unusual, and I would say part of the reason it is, I think, in television's history has a lot to do with this. That first paragraph, like I've said, I'm going to make a statement when I have the material facts available and they're relevant. I think in television has got itself in trouble in the past by making some statements that they thought they were ready to do something, and they could have been just about ready to do something, but something, there was a wrench in the cog, something that came up that stopped what they thought they were ready to do. So they were a little too enthusiastic about saying where they were going and what they would have. When you're presenting like, we think we're going to do this, and Phil has made this mistake of saying we expect in the next few weeks we'll be sending out these production units. Here they're saying they've run into this problem. This, if you look back to that email from, June 9th, June 10th, when they said they were eager to put these in production. They looked forward to getting the stuff out in the next few weeks. Well, that would have put you in early July. We didn't get any notification until the end of August because they're working through these issues. I think they understand they have to tell us that they're working through the problems. They have to tell us information, but they're also in the situation that they do not want to overpromise. They do not want to overshare some of this stuff. They need to be very careful about what they are sharing and what that process is. There's a lot of us online that are just looking at this and saying like, oh, it's going nowhere. This is going down the tubes. They're trying to tell us they're working on this. There's a reason why, they're not telling you on July, like, oh, we're having this issue. It's going to be a few more weeks until they've figured it out. They want to figure it out before they tell you, okay, we've had this problem, but it is figured out. Now we are, looking at going into production. I would have liked for them to actually go into production before they gave us an update, but this is now the end of August. I think we were due something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's just and it's transparent. I get it. Just like I said,
Yeah.
it just kind of struck me that it was that specific of a of an update on that. Now, what and Chuck kind of mentioned it, and this is where, those of us here who, as gamers are looking at this from a, hey, this thing is working its way out the door. One of the primary goals for the small pilot run was to uncover blah blah blah. With that resolved, the path is clear to finish the pilot run in the next few weeks. So they're finishing a pilot run to get to a larger run. That's where we need to get to with this for them to get it out the doors, for the testing to get finished so that they can take this thing to the manufacturer and say, all right, we've got something that isn't going to break when it gets in customers' hands. Let's go. So that's what Chuck took out of it. I can see that as a positive. I will say, a little surprised that they, caught a significant problem. We did put our hands on these last year, so hopefully this is kind of the last of that as they get through the final testing.
Yeah. But it's not just they could have their hardware finalized, but as they're doing updates to the firmware and the software and doing updates, just knowing they have things that they wanted to address later. Now they have a little bit of time or someone that's available to do that. I mean, now they have fewer staff, so they might have less people available to do that. But these things come up from a production standpoint, from a, I don't want to say strictly from a hardware development pipeline, but definitely in a software development pipeline. anything you add is going to break something else. So unless they locked down and said we're absolutely 100% happy with this, we don't think we need to do anything else before it goes into production, then they're still working on something, and anything they're working on could potentially break something. And they thought they broke something when really it looked like there was just a procedural error, an order of
Right.
operations error that occurred. So
Well, and
hopefully they're not going to
imagine-
run into something like this again. But until they're ready for production, we don't know.
Well, and imagine if they get that thing on the line and start having this problem as they run them off the line. That could be that's a bigger issue, you know.
They can't
can't
have a
afford
red
it.
ring death error. I
No.
mean, Nintendo had to do the recall of every Famicom for the first 500,000 that they produced, and they missed what they thought they could potentially sell because of that recall. And Intellivision doesn't have that kind of they don't have other successful products to kind of see them through a
Yep.
recall and negative press. This when they need to put it out, they need to be able to show their investors, people who are interested, that their sales trajectory is going up and it's gaining momentum, not that it's a rocky launch, a rocky pre-launch, a rocky reception, a failed hardware. They can't have that.
No, they can't. They don't have the room for that. An interesting comment by Screw Watermarks,
and I see.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I see that deadline. For your manufacturing production, if you're doing it here and not overseas, I think you have a little more wiggle room where you want to be able to get into manufacturing in August or September. Now, they probably already worked out a lot of the specifics with their manufacturing. They're conceivably ready to go once they've said, okay, we've worked out the kinks, we are good for this. Their manufacturer should have they should have a plan for how that line is going to operate. But I don't think we see a full run. We definitely do not see a full run before Christmas. My hope, though, is that by December, we are seeing progress and they're getting word out that if some of these units aren't coming before Christmas, then they should be around in January so that people can get excited and not, they can see progress and see units being assembled or see something, even if they're not being shipped to them prior to December 25th.
Right. And look, and Screw Watermarks, I think, it's a very good point. Perhaps the specifications had to change a little bit. That particular Snapdragon chip is out of production, and maybe a similar chip. We've seen that before, that kind of thing. But for those, I know Hasslehoff, you're worried about the production timing now, and it's I am too. But they're subject to the same supply constraints that everybody else is. The problem is that they're a smaller company. They don't have the ability to walk into a line and say, sorry guys, you're gonna have to put us in front of Samsung, because we have that same chip. It's just adding a new chip would not necessarily make them go back to get certifications again, unless that chip was in a different class. You can stay within the same specifications. That's the,
if it's putting out like a similar radiation or similar power, then it should be feasible that they don't have to go back and recertify for that part of the certification.
And they would
I
check
would say
on that.
too that I think with the regression we've seen with Intellivision, some of the stuff that I think we were looking forward to and get this out for Christmas so that people can get it. It's not going to go commercial. It's not going to get into stores right now. It's not even going to get to all of us that pre-ordered it. These may just be the founders units. These may just be the founders and part of the VIPs. We don't know what it's going to be, but it's
right.
They're needing to take steps that we did not anticipate a year ago.
Yeah, and I see Hasslehoff said he's worried about letting games go cross-plat.
And we're going to talk about that. That's the next.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the next thing on the list. And you know, Chris, actually, thankfully, you got bumped up to a founders. So if that first run is founders, you know,
Yeah.
you're in that run now. So, so here is okay. All right. And look, it's all speculation until we hear them going into production. So we're not going to sit here, you know, like, that's not our show. It's not what we're here for. We're here to just talk about what we see, and give our thoughts on it. So I don't want to speculate that this means that we're going to see anything before the end of the year, see anything Q1. We just don't know. I want to see it by the end of the year. I'd love to see it by the end of the year. But you know what? It's here when it's here. It's here when it's here.
Right.
Period. Either waiting for it, and you're gonna play it when it comes out, or you're not. I
think as well, we got this today, and then as we can get some consistent progression details going forward, as they get closer, they can, you know, like Rob saying, you know, reveal, like, look, we're ready to go production on, you know, we can do founders first, and then we're going to go from there, you know, and if they can give a date on that, you know, to expect the founders editions, you know, then that's a good step, you know, going forward. And you know,
Right.
then they can see how that runs, you know, when those of us who get the founders editions and how that's playing out, and getting that feedback from them, it'll help them going forward with the VIP and, you know, going to the rest of the market after that. But
and that's how the VCS
Right.
did it. The VCS
Yeah.
got them out to backers first,
mhm,
and then 6 months later, they started their retail run.
yeah,
So,
and
um,
I'm pretty sure they're really looking at how things have gone for the VCS, right? I mean, you know, I think that's a big tell for them. Let's let the VCS go out, see how that's playing out, how the response that they're getting from gamers who've gotten to the VCS early, and how they've responded back to where they, you know, made changes and this and that. And we've seen the VCS. I think it's moving in a more positive direction.
I
I
love
think
mine.
they have a market there for what they are doing, for what the VCS is about, what Atari is about. So in television, they really have to look at that and say, okay, we'll see what they're doing. What can we do to get the Amico out there, getting television back out there, relevant again, and start trending. So, and you guys have seen it personally. You know, like what's the name talked about? He's worried about the games going third party, other plats. But you guys, the uniqueness with the controller and with those games, that it's different than if you're playing on another platform on a different type of controller. It's just not the same. And that's something that they will have to be able to market out there and get people to understand that this is unique. You know, you may be able to play this game on another Xbox or whatever, but it's not the same. It's a different experience.
I'm glad you said that,
Right.
because go ahead, Rab, and then we'll, because that bleeds into this. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Or Rab's a little delayed, possibly frozen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were queuing me to
I was
come
queuing
in.
you up.
Yeah, I truly forgot my point in that. I'm like,
Okay, no worries. All right,
are they
so let
wanting
me
me to
read.
go? Am I waiting?
No,
Is
that's
my
all
audio
right.
coming?
So to what Hasslehoff said, because Hasslehoff kind of gave away the next part, and to Chris's point. So, all right. So then Phil says, we signed a licensing deal with BBG Entertainment. The details will be announced later. And basically, the gentleman from BBG Entertainment has said, we are pleased to have licensed 4 Amico games and the original game versions from Intellivision. For the past 3 years, we've been working with Intellivision on the development of our games Dynablaster and Brain Duel. Apparently, there's 2 more they're working on. I don't know what they are. We're excited about Amico and hope that customers will be as well. We're looking forward to offering the 4 licensed Amico games and original Intellivision versions on other platforms soon. He also said we have another partnership deal that will ensure that 2 of our most anticipated IPs will be available across multiple platforms as well as Amico. The details of that relationship will be announced at a later time. The target for these IPs is simultaneously or later with the Amico release. Given that we have a limited number of Amico units initially, these partnerships will get the games into more hands who have been waiting to play while helping get the word out to a larger audience. As stated above, we're doing everything we can to make sure we have a stable system before starting production. That is a key milestone in moving forward. Okay. And Hasslehoff says he didn't mean to jump to... I'm just teasing you. He says, he's making clear I'm more upset about the cross-plat than a manufacturing delay. I'll still be buying the cross-plat titles whenever they show up, anything to support Intellivision. So, I don't know.
So the concern there is that these are no longer exclusive titles to Amico. They would be shared in some capacity, either as a 90% port, 95% port, or, just utilizing the IP on another system.
Right. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, maybe a mobile version. So I want to address that. And I want to address that in the vein of the Atari VCS, because this is the as Chris pointed out, this is the direction they're going. They're going the VCS direction with some of their titles. And notice that it doesn't say every title. All right, so we're talking right here about 6 games. Right? Dynablaster, Brain Duel, 2 other games, and maybe, who cares? Maybe Astro Smash goes, maybe, I don't know, the hell else? It's not like Finnegan Fox wasn't on something else first. All right, so everybody knows that the Atari VCS...
Some of these could be some of...
Go ahead. Now I'll get my...
Some of these could be some of the games that were proposed for Amico and they started development on. But I think we have to remember the pricing structure for those games, where Intellivision was going to take a lead in funding, then it would most likely be an exclusive just to Intellivision. Whereas with other developers, they might come with a game that they have in mind, like Nitro Derby or Evil Knievel or a Fox and Forest, and they want to make changes and adjustments and have an exclusive version of that game on the Amico while they still have that game available on other platforms as well. So this could be a shift with, some of these games kind of pausing production because they've, run so short of funds. This may be kind of rework. So for like BBG Entertainment, one of the games they work with is Dash. Boulder Dash has been listed as, something that Intellivision was going to be releasing, and that's a title that they own. Does that mean Boulder Dash is going on other systems? It already has been on other systems. Would we see the same version on Amico that they're planning to put with this title? Or does this mean like one of the things that they were going to work on exclusively is now going to be somewhere else as well? As well. I don't know. And I think part of that just might stem to, is it being fully funded by Intellivision, which at this point few games can be, versus is it something that Intellivision is paying to have on its system, and we can get to that point later when we cross that road, if there's the possibility to cross that road again.
And so I have come to realize something as I have been playing the recharged VCS game. All the recharged VCS games, in fact, pretty much all the VCS games, are available on the Xbox, PlayStation, Switch. I think they're available on PC. Who knows? But I have found myself playing them and buying them on the VCS. Why is that? Because the VCS has a controller with a spinner stick on it. And I can't play Tempest 4000 the same way on the Xbox controller that I can on the VCS controller. The bottom line for me is that Tempest is a spinner game. And I cannot tell you how much enjoyment I get. I won't even play. I have not even fired up the VCS with the modern controller. Unless I'm doing RetroArch, unless I'm firing up in PC mode. If I'm playing the VCS games, I'm using the classic controller. And I said this when the Atari 50th collection was announced and we started talking about it. And Myke will be here on we have Myke slated to come on, I believe, the 23rd of September, the 20th of September, either the 20th or the 27th. I got to double check what date I told him. So we're gonna have Myke on to talk about the Atari 50th collection. I'm going to buy.
That man has had to have cloned himself.
Right?
He never sleeps.
I know. I love Myke. Myke is a really good friend. And we've had him on before. I talk to him all the time. You know, he's a wonderful guy. I am going to buy the 50th collection on the VCS. Not. I mean, it might even look better in on the PlayStation 5. It might even look better on the Xbox. But if I'm gonna play Tempest 2000, which is a Jaguar game, if I'm gonna play, you know, all those old games, I'm gonna play them. I almost feel like I want to play them on the system that I want to play them on an Atari system, right? So
all bets are off if it's coming to like the Oculus.
have at that.
Tempest 4000 in 3D.
You know, but the fact that would be unbelievable. That would freak me out too. But you know, Digital Eclipse is putting this collection on the Atari VCS, which tells you that they understand the VCS is out there. They understand that the VCS has a fan base, right? And that's where I'm buying it. That's where I'm going to play it. When I get it, I'm going to be streaming the crap out of it. You're going to see Atari VCS streams. So when these games from Intellivision come to the Xbox, come to the PlayStation, come to the Switch, it's great that those people are going to be able to play those games, right? I'd love for people other than me to play Astro Smash. And to be honest, and I know Relic said he'd rather Astro Smash stays on the Amico. I don't care if it does or not. I'm going to play the game on the Amico. For starters, it's going to come with the console. So while other people are going to have to buy Astro Smash to play it, coming on the console, it's a pack-in. I'm going to have the controller that I won't have on the Xbox, with the disc, with the touchpad, the way I can play it, the way I'm used to playing it. You know, I've only got one controller with my Xbox Series X. Getting two controllers with the Amico, Seth and I will be playing it. Seth and I will be streaming it together. Seth and I will be having fun with it. That is why I don't care. And let's not forget, this brings them revenue. Everybody remember that the now, you know, we'll call it the controversial Start Engine campaign in the FCC documentation, they said, we've got enough money to go through July. And that's it. Remember that? Now they've got money. They have money coming in from this deal. Yep. They'll have revenue coming in for the game sales so that they could put that into games for the Amico. Games for the games, that's it. It all comes circular. It's what Sony's doing. It's what Microsoft's doing. It's diversifying. So I don't have an issue with this. I don't. It's not going to stunt my ability to enjoy.
I would say a couple of things. I don't have an.
All right, my turn's over. Unpack
I don't have an issue with it either, and I would. My audio is awful, so I apologize if I'm interrupting.
No,
please. No console. I don't think any console since the Worlds of Wonder Action Max back in like 1986, 87 produced like only exclusive games for that console. I mean, the Sega CD, the Jaguar, the Super Nintendo, every console that has ever come out has had some games that appeared on other consoles. And while we were all very impressed and very hopeful, just the purpose that the Amico would have if those games couldn't be found anywhere else, and it's exciting for us. I think that's kind of the same vein of, kind of identity and wanting and maybe some selfishness that, like we were talking about earlier, with PlayStation fans being upset that those games may appear on PC, because that's part of like, well, you're a PlayStation fan. You are so strong about PlayStation. They are so smart because they're putting out these great games and you can't play them anywhere else. And then someone's like, well, actually, I can just play it on a PC. I'm fine. I don't need a. So it diminishes the call to go out and get this console for that reason. But I think on the other hand, I think it is very shrewd, because if you're not putting your entire library on other consoles, if you are being selective and saying, okay, these 4 games, these 8 games we're going to put on other consoles, that's exposure for the Intellivision brand on other consoles for people to be able to see. It's income for them, but it's also exposure for people to see, oh, these are Intellivision games. I'm having fun with this game, and Intellivision has 30 other games that are like this from the classic Intellivision library that have been redone, but those are only on Intellivision. Then you have a rationale to go to the Amico and purchase that console. That's not something right now in the position they're in. They're not in that position to make that play. But if this works out in their favor, that they can get some attention and some market awareness with these games and some revenue, then I can see it as a net benefit where they are, for the people who are playing and enjoying these games, maybe on mobile, maybe on, it's a natural fit for mobile. They might be using their phones anyways, maybe on the Switch, maybe on Xbox or PC or Sony. Then they could start to bring some of that audience at least to awareness that they don't have the funding to spend on commercials and a lot of advertising and marketing otherwise, so they can put out those games, get revenue. It's a different form of marketing for them, if that makes sense.
It is. Well, and
that's the way I see it.
Look, we also, just like with Sony, I said it earlier, we don't live beyond the social media sphere. And so Sony fans on social media can't get over the fact that PlayStation games are on PC and PlayStation games, PlayStation IPs are going to go to mobile. We are, if you go outside of the bubble, the target market for this console still isn't the folks who are going to buy Astro Smash on the Xbox. They're just not. And it's hard for us to, oh, hold on. Wanted to clarify that Brain Duel and Dynablaster are not the licensed games. It is 4 other games not announced yet. Let me reread this. We are pleased to have licensed 4 Amico games and the original versions from Intellivision for the past 3 years. And let me also clarify, this was managing director of BBG's quote. This is not Phil speaking. For the past 3 years, we've been working with Intellivision on the development of our games Dino Blaster and Brain Duel. We're excited about Amico and hope our customers will be as well. We are looking forward to offering the 4 licensed Amico games and original Intellivision games on other platforms. So they're making 4 different games that are going to be on Amico and other platforms, but Dino Blaster and Brain Duel are still
Amico.
Amico only.
Are the 2 games they've already made for Amico?
Got
They
it.
are Amico only. They are not part of this license deal.
Okay. John,
So that's why I'm
thank
saying with
you.
like the difference in
Okay.
how third parties or second parties are being reimbursed.
Yeah. No. That makes
Like, that would make
total
more sense.
Yeah.
And that, thank you for the clarification, John. That makes sense. And look, other original Intellivision versions on other platforms soon. It's what does. So it does sound like, though, they're making more of the kind of reimagined games. Because if you notice, so now let's parse this a little bit more. Haha. We're pleased to have licensed 4 Amico games and the original game versions, which means they're making 4 more games that are
Does it mean all 4?
remakes or
4 more games. At least some of those would be remakes,
and they're gonna put
reimaginings.
those out on the Amico and other platforms. That's fine. That's their prerogative. That's what a license thing is. Okay, so that makes me again, doesn't make me feel anything. I don't care if other people get to play Dino Blaster. You don't. It's really funny. We heard
You
this
don't care that other people get to play Dino Blaster, but you do care that Intellivision is doing financially well.
I
Because you don't
care
want to
that,
see it go under and not
I don't
want
to see them go
support.
under. No, I don't want to see.
That's
And
the
nobody,
ultimate goal.
yeah, nobody. Look, nobody who is
But
a
I
fully,
don't think those are exclusive.
probably not. Is John Alvarado's mustache cross-platform? That's the real question, Hasslehoff. If you are a
You could
fully
get online play that way with his mustache.
Oh, true. If you're a fully formed adult, right, you understand this, and you don't have a problem with other people getting to play these games. And I'm gonna give you just a quick anecdote. I'm not gonna name the person, but it's a conversation I had with a friend, and it's a friend who ribs me, who has ribbed me about the Amico, right? I was on a show with him, and he's ribbed me a bit about it, because it's not out yet, right? And I was having a conversation with him, and it did come up on the show that you, Rab, me, Chuck, Nick, get attacked personally and pretty shittily. That's a word I just made up. By certain segment of people. And he's like, "Nah, you got to be kidding." And I ended up showing him one just in a conversation the other day. And he's like, "Holy crap." He's like, "Is this real?" I'm like, "Yeah."
A good deal of that comes with just being on the internet, but we get the deluxe version.
We do. We
That's
get
true.
yes,
Yeah.
we do. But in that conversation with my friend, he said to me, dude, that I'm only ribbing you as a friend. He's like, I'm just, because we're buddies. And I'm like, yeah, of course, I know. And yeah, it's not a great situation. And he said, look, I actually want to see this thing come out. I'm going to get one for me and my 2-year-old grandson because I want to get him into gaming. And I'm like, and this is a guy, by the way, that's got all the consoles. He's got Xbox. He's got PlayStation. He doesn't want to put his son, his 2-year-old, in front of an Xbox. Can my 7-year-old play Sea of Thieves? Absolutely. But I've shown that video before, and I'll show it anytime I can of that same. Well, he's 8 now. That same 8-year-old with his face lit up playing Shark. Because in the end, it's a game. He doesn't care, you know. And so this guy, who's a diehard gamer, hardcore, is talking about, I'm getting one for me and my 2-year-old grandson. And that's the part that I think a lot gets missed, is that, yeah, for me, the nostalgia. Rab, for you, the nostalgia. Chris, for you, the nostalgia. And yeah, we love the games. I love the recharge games on the VCS. And playing playing that Breakout demo was really cool. I love that stuff. We're not the target demographic. We never were. Maybe that upsets some people.
Not at all.
And I can get how that upsets some people.
We are a piece of
We're a piece.
Yeah, their plan.
Yep. And I'm happy to be a piece of that plan. This is for that guy that wants to get his 2-year-old, his 3-year-old, his 5-year-old into gaming. The dad who doesn't want to do that, who doesn't want us to get an Xbox because he wants to curate the games. We've talked about this. I mean, you guys have talked about this extensively on Amico forever, and when I've been on as a guest, we've talked about this. We've talked about this here. You know, and again, the reason we are all interested in it is because we like the game. We just love the game. I don't care what I game on. We just talked about mobile, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I'm gaming on a VCS, on an Amico, on an Xbox. The hell with the Switch, though. I won't game on a Switch. Sorry. And now I run.
Yeah, but like you were saying, that they know gamers like us who are in the know, right? We see all this. We're interested. We talk about it on a regular basis. We stay engaged. Look, the research, but the market, the majority of the market has to be everybody else, the casual, the moms, the grandmothers, grandparents, whatever, that, you know, will look at this for their younger kids. That's where they have to reach out to, right? That's a bigger market than us. I mean, and it's just like even Xbox and them, they do the same thing. They do cater to us, but in the end, they have to look at the bigger markets.
Yep.
Like Call of Duty.
Right.
I mean,
and Candy Crush. They have to look at that.
Yeah, they're looking at those who only play Call of Duty, and how do they please them?
This console would look very different if they had us as their target audience.
Absolutely.
I think you would see online play. I think you would see more versatile controller. I think you would have less words. I think you'd see, you know, going after RPGs and strategy games and stuff like that. This is designed and marketed, or is supposed to be marketed, towards a very different audience. And right now it's been kind of caught in this retro and modern gamer audience who are kind of interested in it as a curiosity, or interested in how it's gone off the rails in production, or interested in how it's bringing back in television. These are all valid interests, but it's not what anyone at Intellivision. John Alvarado did not go to Intellivision to just bring back the old Intellivision. He didn't go to, you know, make a system that retro gamers would just, you know, be over the moon to play. Those systems, to an extent, exist, but there's other things that this system in particular would do if that was the mission. This mission was to bring people together, to make it simple, to make games that you could pick up and easily play and put down and walk away from, and not feel like you have to. Like, the reason I play as many games as I used to on AAA is I don't have the relevant time commitment over the next few weeks to know I can pour some time into this game and I'm going to be able to progress long enough to remember where I am. It's going to get lost in the shuffle. I will go in and put in, you know, a Last of Us, and I just won't be able to get more than like 5 hours in because I have other things that I have to do, and it will sit there for a month, and then I'll have to go and restart.
And that's what I'm loving so much about again, I'm going back to the VCS because I see it's really funny. Because I've been in the panels with you, Rab, and Chuck and Nick, where everybody's talking about, well, this versus the Switch, this versus the Xbox, this versus. I have been enlightened by having the VCS because that's what I'm comparing this to. I have spent more time on the VCS in the last 2 months than I have spent on the Xbox. And when I fired up the Xbox, you know what I've been playing? Fall Guys.
Wow.
Fall Guys.
Almost choke it hearing that.
You know?
You fraud.
Right. That's where I got my 100,000 gamer score, by the way. So, you know, but that's what I've been doing. And then firing
so
up,
why
you
isn't
know,
Phil Spencer returning your calls anymore?
right. You know, well, look, next year when Forza Motorsport comes out, and I mean, there's a lot of Xbox games that I am going to blast through next year. And again, it's fortuitous that Microsoft has pushed those games to 2023, because November is going to be all about God of War Ragnarok. That's just how it is.
It's all God of War.
But
Yep.
I have spent a lot of time firing up those games, playing the Atari VCS Vault games, playing, you know, putting in the firing up the Windows 10 image on there and playing RetroArch and playing my old Sega CDs and playing, you know, just firing up Saturn or Dreamcast games. I'm getting back into that nostalgic feel because not that I don't like where next gen game is headed. You know, we've played a lot of great next generation games. You know, I still find that one of my favorite experiences has been when Chris, Peter, and I have fired up Gears of War and did the Hive Busters, you know, stuff. You know, when at some point we'll get back to playing Halo Infinite. You know, it's not that I don't play those games. It's not that I don't like those games. But I have found myself wanting the era of the pick up and play. And the VCS has scratched an itch that I forgot that I had. And the Amico is going to scratch an itch that I have realized last year, yeah, I like it. It's not that I don't like it. It's that it's going to continue to scratch an itch that I continue to have. Because as I get older, these newer games aren't doing it for me like it did in the 90s, like it did in the 2000s. Still love having them, but I'm not pining for it. You know what I just asked Chris and Peter if I could stream this weekend, if I could pick up, you know, because we have our super chats and stuff like that. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Cowabunga collection. That's what I'm most looking forward to playing this weekend. All the old Turtle games. So it's why in my library, the Amico, like the VCS, like my retro, it has a place. And that's what I'm, you know, that,
right.
and here on our channel, that's why it has a place.
So you're just being a game.
That's what any console needs. You just need to find what that purpose is, and if you're going to replicate what the Switch is doing or what Sony is doing or what Microsoft is doing to some extent, then you really have to hit it out of the park on something like exclusives or something like the disc being a revolutionary way to play or something. And you know, every mobile has its place as that diversion, like Myke Hawk, what Hertz was saying earlier. I separated those out. You still find yourself playing mobile. As much as we've built up our collections, we find ourselves playing mobile because it has a purpose, it has a place. And Switch, for me, has a place. PlayStation has a place. PC really doesn't have much of a place right now. I'd like for it to have a place. I just don't have that kind of space in my life for. But there is also, I think, an untapped place for something. I don't have the VCS, so I haven't really kind of dove into that. For me, the old systems kind of really grabbed me for the nostalgia. I have a lot of backed up. I can just plug it in and play, and I'm good for that. But for me, with the Amico, it does have a purpose, because what I do get out of mobile is the ease of play, and that I can pull out my phone and just waste my time. But it is something that I have a hard time finding really good quality games that I can play with other people and I can waste time with them. I think one of the things we are missing in society today is in-person I think Amico, yeah, it means friend, but I think their biggest selling point is that you can plug this thing in anywhere, and their marketing can be make your next friend today. It's Amico, and it's plug it in the mall, and people could just whip out their phones and scan a QRC code to be able to join in the game and play right there. And there's nothing to it. There's no learning curve to play those games. There's no, if you have to walk away, who cares? You play an Evil Knievel, you play a few games and you're done. You play in Dynablaster, you play a quick round for 30 seconds or 3 minutes and you're done. That sort of experience on mobile is very solitary, but it's very disposable. You don't really have the system that gives you that experience. Or you don't have the outlet that gives you that experience with other people in person. And I think that is a key to what this could do if it gets out in the market and people see it, and there's enough interesting games that are supporting those concepts. I think it has a purpose. It has to survive to find it.
Right. And it has to, and look, and
I'm off my soapbox now. So.
I'm not saying anything that John doesn't know, and John and Phil, they know that that Chris, Peter, and I also, we speak the truth. We speak it as we see it. It's got to come out, and they know that. I'm not saying anything they don't know, and they're working tirelessly to get it out. And again, here's John at 9 o'clock at night. He's probably still at his desk. And I want to see this come out for me, for them, and I want to see it come out for him too. I want this to succeed for John's hard work, for Phil's hard work, for the folks who are pounding away at this, for Tommy's vision to work. But at the end of the day, that's the end piece of this. That is, I love talking about it. I love the fact that I've played it. I want it in my hands again. That makes it hard too. It makes it really difficult because last year we played it, and so we have a perspective that I think a lot of people don't, because we've touched it. We've put hands on it, on actual, hardware that was beyond prototype, right? And so it makes it frustrating. And I have gotten everybody's frustrations, and I see it on Amico Forever. I see the frustration in your chat, right? And to those who are frustrated in a legitimate matter, I empathize with that, and I understand it, because I've touched it and a lot of people haven't, and absence makes the heart grow fonder. I just quoted a King's Quest game. Sorry, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and it was,
Roberta Williams will be taking her royalty. Thank you.
Yes. So, hey, Phil, Spencer, since we don't talk anymore, because what'll get me back to the Xbox in a quick way? Now that you're gonna own Activision, who also owns Sierra, bring back my King's Quest. Bring me another Police Quest. Bring me Roger Wilco, and I will come flying back. So, I again, most functioning adults, most fully formed gamers would like to see this thing. if nothing else, for some people to at least see what it does. And we'll, when there is more to talk about here with this, we will. Next update, we'll be right back here and talking about it, and until then we've got other stuff. So, but that's the update, for better or for worse. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I mean it's in television. They know they have to keep working to get this out, do everything they can, and they have to prove to try to win some people back, hopefully, and then also market this out to the market they're going after. They're going after the market that the Wii kind of Nintendo had with the Wii, and they've kind of moved on from that because the Switches, they do a lot of things that's they do a lot of things that are similar to those. They kind of combine, but you're not seeing a push. The family can come together in the home and play at the same time. You're looking at the same TV. You're not online in different rooms or whatever that sometimes do. They got a lot of work to do. So I think this is a good sign, and then hopefully we'll see the progression going forward. And I believe it'll happen. So it's just not gonna happen as quick as people want, or so.
Yeah, when it gets here, it gets here.
Yeah.
I mean,
the VCS and all that didn't come out. The other one that you were talking about that kind of had to raise their price. I know
the Poly Mega.
Yeah. So it's not easy for these smaller companies. So we just have to be patient, and hopefully they do find a way.
It isn't easy.
And like you said, I do get the frustration.
They have, and they lost a lot of goodwill. So there's been a lot of negative will thrown in there that I think has snowballed as well. But that's the situation they face, and they can either face that and put it out, or fold. Either way, we will see. Colorado's working. We see Phil put out the statement, so we'll stay tuned until the next update. I don't know, Myke, did you have anything else on this one, or?
No, I think you said it best. I mean, I think we're all in the same boat. I
have no idea what we're going to cover differently tomorrow.
Well, you will have slightly different people.
Chuck's gonna be like, "Why is there only 5 people? You took the whole audience."
No, trust me. So the great thing about over here now, and guys, those of you who are part of Amico Forever's chat, come over tonight. We appreciate you. We hope that you come and check out all of when we're talking about Xbox and PlayStation and Switch and streaming, streaming games and stuff. We'd like to have you back for the other things, but you guys will have a different audience than us, and that's kind of one of the nice things about us. We are able to talk about the Amico to a different audience. Oh, and
I have not. I think I've seen like 2 messages retracted. I couldn't keep up with them, but your chat has been incredibly civil and lots of different opinions. I think it's been a really good group of people in here chatting it up.
Oh, and Wreckfest. Mike Hawk said Wreckfest too, dude. I forgot Wreckfest was such a good game. I love playing Wreckfest. No, and that's the other great thing is the truth is that I thought about I thought about, am I gonna have to make some sort of announcement, some sort of disclaimer, and I'm like, you know what? No, because number one, our own chat, if you come into our chat and you are here to talk games and be good to people and stuff like that, that's who we want, and the chat would clean itself. I've seen our chat in other times when we've focused on Amico, I've seen the chat police itself, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We have, and I'm not taking anything away from the Amico Forever chat. There are some awesome people in there.
Oh no, go.
You know,
Yeah,
I love.
This is a long running show with a long running audience.
Yes, and I don't have to warn the audience. But and by the way, one of the retracted messages was Nick. So. So
He was
anyway,
trolling Rab.
yeah. So anyway, that is the. I was gonna do other news, but it's already 12:19. The only other thing I really saw that was out there was some Game Pass and some the new Games with Gold stuff this month. Portal 2 is coming to Games with Gold, and it is the last Xbox 360 game that's coming in.
Logitech.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Oh, the Logitech. Yeah. So we'll cover some of that stuff next week.
We'll
So
another time. Yeah.
Yeah.
We will keep people up until like 3 a.m. talking about some of that stuff.
Oh God, yes. And I don't want to keep you up either, Rab. I know you're on vacation. I know you've got the family there, and you have been so gracious to hang out with us tonight while on vacation. I really, dude, I'm really so glad you're here. Your audio held out the whole night. Well,
I wouldn't have showed up if it wasn't if it wasn't a good chat and a good podcast. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, we
appreciate that.
Always great having you. No, it's always great having you.
We got that lag though. We got the
yeah. It's always great having you. It is always. We'll definitely get you back again when you're back at home base and your internet's a little better, and maybe we have some maybe when we do get some production news, and maybe we are or what talk about anything. You know what's going on out there. So I really appreciate you being with us tonight, filling in for Peter, who is chilling and relaxing. I haven't checked Discord. I hope he's relaxing and chilling and not pacing his room going.
I hope he's falling asleep in a lawn chair.
Yes, those MFers didn't actually invite me on the show tonight. So no, Peter. Peter will be back next week, and next couple weeks we're gonna have some great guests. We have Spooky Sprocket and Trinity, some dear friends of ours. We have our awesome brother Mav. Fun Speculation will be on the 13th, which is gonna be after the Disney Marvel showcase that Disney's putting on, and I can't think of anybody better to talk Marvel and Disney than brother Mav and Caitlin. And then we'll have Myke on I think it's the 27th is when Myke is coming on, and he's going to talk not only about the Atari 50th collection, but we're gonna by that time we'll have enough on the Cowabunga collection to talk to him about that, because that's his team as well. And we've got more coming. Mr. Boomstick promised me he was coming on, so I got to get brother Boom in here. We'll get him, and he's always great to talk Xbox with. So thank you, everybody. Yes, do not forget, tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. Go ahead, Rab. I'll let you I'm gonna let you pimp it this time.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and pimp it on my laggy, horrible connection. Tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern, DJ Game Studios, Nick the Geekstorian, and myself will be talking about this Amico update. We will probably have a couple of new angles on this. We might be repeating a good deal of this, but we will keep it interesting. And we'll look forward to whoever is there. And thank you all for showing up tonight.
A lot of fun.
Has been.
Yep. And don't forget, guys. So if you need to see it, the DJC's link is down in the description below under our Gamers United Guild. And Chris, you know what? I don't get to ask this. I don't get to ask this very, very often. Where can they find you? We don't ever say where we can find each other. I don't do that like other shows do.
Yeah, well, you can find me on YouTube, Xbox, PlayStation, one day, Fastback 6768. Did I say Twitter also? So.
Oh.
And of course here every Tuesday night, 9:30 Eastern. So.
The other 9:30.
8:30 Central.
That's
Yes.
right.
Ah.
But this has been very great. The chat's been awesome, very respectful. And like y'all were saying earlier, we encourage to, don't be afraid to show your if you're unsatisfied with, what topics we're talking about. You're not happy with the Amico, but all we ask is just be respectful and not toxic about it. Harassment, and something, uncalled for. And that's all we ask. So, and that's why I love our chat, our friends of NLG, our family, and then the Gamers United Guild. And yeah, but no, it's been great. And Rab, great to be on here with you. And I've always enjoyed your perspective as far as the game. I know we don't get a lot of the current stuff from you, but so it's cool to have you on here to talk about the Sony stuff and everything. But like y'all were saying, the Amico Forever, I always look forward to try to be there live, even if we talk about the same thing, the day before here on NOG. But you guys bring a different perspective, and y'all's experience from your retro days, the games that y'all played, because I did not grow up playing the television games. There's so many games. That's why I love watching you guys, the GoGameGo guys, and Papa Pete, and and Pete, and that y'all. I just enjoy learning that experience and stuff that y'all bring that I don't know, and probably never would have known if it wasn't for y'all.
It's just joy and vicarious, and thank you, Chris.
Yeah, and that's what this is all about. This is what the whole point of Gamers United Guild is, to bring like-minded gamers together that are
Amen.
Want to have fun and be positive and be just we can goof off and stuff but overall I think we're all pretty intelligent and and respectful in how we bring our points across as far as gaming and all that. So yeah, it's a great day. Always look forward to this. And during the day, I have a long day at work and a long week, and I'm tired. But then once we get the show going and start, and just I get another win. And our chat's been with us pretty much throughout the whole time.
Yeah, we've held on.
Yeah.
We've held firm.
So I appreciate everybody. I know we had to push the Amico stuff in the back so we didn't lose y'all and lose Rab.
That's right. Wow, John. It's been one great
It was contractual
circle chat. Oh my God, John. Oh wow. So Hasslehoff said it's chat with respectable debate. We called it chatterbait. And John said it's in one great big circle chat.
Hey, whatever y'all do in the
shit,
chat, that's
I'm
fine.
done.
Just make sure you clean up
That's
after
right.
yourselves before the show's over.
Oh wow. And by the way, since he just popped in, I don't know if he was here earlier and just
I needed a
kind of rolled
vacation
in
from my vacation.
Oh my God! But happy birthday to our brother, Project Jeff. Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday, sir.
No,
Happy birthday.
I didn't see him earlier. I would have said it. So, but
a lot of times
right.
he's getting our game in.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and start getting our. I still can't believe John said. I can believe Hasslehoff said it. That I can believe. I can't
Yeah,
believe John. Wow.
That's on
All right.
brand.
That is.
John
But
doesn't usually
hey,
come with the tissues.
no. Chat, you guys again have been awesome. You guys, we love you. You know, there is you guys are our family. You know, we thank you for hanging out with us. And again, those of you who came tonight, I know you came for some Amico talk, but you know, if you're an Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC, come back and talk other stuff with us. As long as we have, you know, as long as we have a good time together, you're welcome here. It's a safe place to come talk. You're amongst friends. You know, you're amongst gamers. And there's Marceau, speed running B-17 bomber suit. I hope. How the hell do you speed run B-17 bomber? We're gonna have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Oh, but hey, and Marceau, my brother in Outrun, dude, he has done runs in Outrun in almost every console imaginable, even the Game Gear, the Turbo Graphics, and even the arcade out of Yakuza 0, and he's been doing a lot of Magical Sound Shower, and he knows how much I love that. So, Marceau, go see Marceau. Anyway, tomorrow night, Amigo Forever. Also, Gamers United Guild is not Amigo Forever is not the only one. GoGameGo is on at 8 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, with their open mic nights and all the stuff that they do. Friday is the Iconic Video Games Podcast. Saturday morning is the Evercast with Brother Rich. Saturday night, the return of the Dragon's Den at 6 p.m. with Brother Lemon. Cannot wait for that. I actually have a weekend where I can listen to it. On Sunday, it is Good Morning Xbox. And then at night, TXR. It's a day of Xbox talk. TXR at night. Monday is Astro Smashed Mondays with DJC Game Studios as they talk in television. And then we're back here Tuesday night. So, good night, everyone.
Clear your calendars.
Clear your calendars. Gamers United Guild up in here. I don't know why I keep saying stuff like that. I don't know why I said that, pimp. I'm just getting tired. All right. Good night, everybody.
You're just a hype man.
I am. It's been a good night of talk. I mean, it really has. I've really enjoyed this.
It is a lot of good shows to hype.
They
earn that. So.
They are. But I really had fun tonight, and you guys have energized me. I'm in another gear. So good night, everyone. Pick up a controller, get some gaming in, and as always, play on, gamers.
Adios, everybody. Appreciate y'all.